Welcome to Horror Cinema Obsession. Here, we dive deep into the chilling depths of horror cinema, from the critically acclaimed scares to the laughably ludicrous, and even the delightfully obscure. Now, let's join our hosts, Richard and Angelus, as they share their love, laughs, and sometimes sheer disbelief at the world of horror movies.
Hello, obsessies, obsessors, obsessionies.
Listeners? Obsessed listeners?
Yeah.
Are you finding a name?
Fans, dude.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right. This is Horror Cinema Obsession, as the intro said. I'm Richard. And then this is my co-host, Angelus, my beautiful co-host.
Oh, shit. Almost forgot.
I know.
That's in the agreement.
I know. It's in the contract. Anyways, how's it going?
It's going. It's Friday. It's the first full week of August.
Friday. How's that song go?
Gonna get down on Friday. Something for the weekend.
We got a good one tonight, guys. I'm excited. But before we do that, we were talking about the week. Gosh, this week seems like it flew by. Like, went way too fast.
The entire year is going too fast.
I know, nuts. But this week in particular, I don't know. I just blinked and it was over.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know, man. I don't know yet. I'm pretty excited. Let's see. We got a big weekend, though, coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got a kid birthday to go to. Exciting. And then we have later that night, we're going to RuPaul's Drag Race.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be exciting.
I'm excited.
Like, Angelus, sashay away. Okay?
Sashay away. Snap, snap, snap.
No, that'll be fun. I've never been, so I only caught a couple episodes, but what I saw was hilarious. So
I've only been to a couple of drag shows in town at the bars.
So I've maybe been to one of those, but I remember, if you remember the TV show Maury, it was a talk show, and you'd have to guess if it's man or woman.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you could do that in today's world.
No.
But I fucking love that. We'd have fun. We'd all gather around after school at like 3:30, and then like, oh, we got to guess it's man or woman on this one. Some of them would fool you, though. We'd eat our fake Oreos and then Hydroxios and enjoy Maury Povich. Shout out. Is that guy still alive?
I have no idea.
Man. Well, if you are, Maury, is Connie Chung, his wife, still alive?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, man. Dude, well, if anybody knows, please, I guess I could Google it, but anybody wants to reach out and let me know, that'd be great, too. Thoughts are going out. He deserves his roses.
Stupid. I apologize.
Anyways, so yeah, we've got that. And then Sunday, we're going out to dinner with your folks. It's your father's birthday, right?
Uh-huh.
Ooh-wee. Man, this is a busy weekend.
There's a baby shower Sunday morning. There's like
a baby shower. Whose baby shower?
The clock. My sister-in-law, stepsister.
Oh, that's right. Dang. Man, your weekend's even busier than my weekend. I just got band practice Sunday. I'm pretty excited about that one.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So, but anyways, we got a good one today. Do you want to tell the kind listeners what we're covering?
Halloween 2007.
Directed by Robert B. Zombie.
Cummings.
Oh, his real last name Cummings?
Robert Bartholomew?
Bartholomew?
It wasn't quite mule. It was Bartholomew. It was something fancy. And then Cummings.
Well, anyways, Robert, I like your work. Let's just get into it. What were your initial thoughts on this movie? First off, have you seen this movie before?
No.
And what were your initial thoughts?
It's a slasher movie. Whoop whoop.
Okay. What were your initial thoughts?
It's a slasher movie. I don't know. I don't know. You know this. I am okay with my movies.
It's a love-hate with you.
With a lot of, I don't know. There's a lot of sex in this movie. Not that I'm like a prude or anything, but I just
You're sounding
felt
like a square.
it was unnecessary.
Okay, so it's a classic slasher. I think Bob. I think he did a good job of capturing that. So that essence of slasher, that's what it was in the 80s.
But this is a 07.
This one's a little bit more grittier, obviously a little bit more over the top. He tends to push the stuff a little over them, like pushes it past the line, but I tend to enjoy that. So you didn't enjoy this movie?
The first half, I like an origin story. I love an origin story.
You can't like resist. You're like, ooh.
Tell me more about the hot gossip. How the hell did you become so cray-cray?
That hardcore cheese, man.
Yeah, I just feel like it was good overall. I just feel like at the end, when he's following his sister, it was dragged out a little bit. There was like some scenes where he was just standing, waiting for her to make noise. And I'm like, okay.
So, have you ever seen the original one?
I don't know.
Oh my God. Guys, I swear we're obsessed.
I've seen maybe not the original, but other more recent ones. With
I know.
The Jamie and the Lee and the Curtis.
She was in the original one.
I know, but I've seen some other more the recent ones.
Okay. So he was trying to capture, I think, in this movie, and we'll get a little bit more into it, but that he's trying to get back to that creepy, like, standing there, not given a whole lot, so leaving a lot of mystery, but at the same time he gave a lot of information, so I think it kind of was to its detriment seeing the origin.
Yeah.
And you kind of had an understanding why he was doing this.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of ruined it a little bit of what the original did so well. But that being said,
he did it.
Rob Zombie, his take on this, I liked it. I enjoyed this one. I can't believe I'm saying this, but back in 2007, I think it was 2007, early 2008. I couldn't watch this. It freaked me out.
Are you for effing real?
I don't know what it was. I don't know. Maybe it was the peyote I was smoking. I don't know.
Oh my God. This explains everything for Richard.
The anxiety was up to a level, and I always associated it with this movie, and it gave me like anxiety of watching it. But now that I watched it again, and I've seen it since, but it took a minute. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch this. But watching it, I'm like, oh, this is actually enjoyable. This isn't bad.
Did you get PTS having at first being like, oh, we're watching this?
It's kind of like we talked about with like Hellraiser, where it's like just the thought of it. I know, but just the thought of it, like, it freaks me out. Just because what I've seen growing up, briefly, like, put it in my head, like, this movie is the trippiest shit. I don't know if my mind can handle this kind of thing.
Oh.
So I think this was kind of in that realm. But no, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit, and I loved revisiting it. I do want to say thank you to the listener that recommended this. You sent us a very cool email acknowledging that you listen, which is awesome, and you suggested this movie, so I appreciated it, and it was a lot of fun. And hopefully this episode will be fun, huh?
It will be.
It will be.
It will be.
But so yeah, we can get into the movie, but what we have, Angelus, do you know the top 3 grossing films of 2007? Or do you want to try to guess?
Absolutely. It was.
Oh, you ruined it.
I ruined it. Trick or Treat.
No, what?
Just kidding.
No, this one has a very moody hero in it.
Ooh, is it Up?
No, he's moody. He has a little moody phase. He goes black.
The hell are you talking about? Not a very good.
Spider-Man 3, dude.
Oh my God. He turns evil?
Yep. He
Jesus
gets a symbiote attaches to him.
Ricardo.
Tobey Maguire, man. He starts dancing in that one down the street.
Okay.
You don't remember that?
I remember Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten? Yeah, she was in all 3 of them. Spectacular.
Spectacular. Is this the upside down kiss one? No, that's the second one.
No, that's the first one.
That's the first one.
No. Yeah. So this one, the third one, I think the Sandman was in it. Venom was in it. And then the dude from Predators and that 70s show, Eric Foreman, he was in it.
Amazing. I didn't watch this one.
Oh, well, I seen all 3 in the theaters. Not That's just a humble break.
And the theaters.
Okay, the second one, though, you should know this one. He has a sidekick that's hilarious. They introduced a cat who happens to wear boots.
Oh my God, is it Puss in Boots? No, it's not Puss in Boots.
Well, that's the character. Yep.
Shrek.
And so Shrek the Third. So Spider-Man 3, these are all really close. Spider-Man 3 grossed approximately $336.5 million. Also, coincidentally, is directed by Sam Raimi, by the way, who directed...
I fucking forgot.
Dun, dun, dun.
Not Predators. Friday. I don't know. I forgot.
You're hurting my feelings right now. Why do I
Alien.
talk? No.
I'm looking at your posters. I'm like, where?
Evil Dead,
Evil
brother.
Dead. Oh.
Evil Dead 2, Drag Me to Hell, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. But anyways, yeah. And then Shrek the Third, it grossed $322.7 million. This third one was a big one. It was epic when it came out. It blew my mind. It has a dude that starred in Holes. Jennifer's Body was in it. Jennifer, she was in it.
Transformers.
Yeah. Our boy Michael Bay. Do you know how much it grossed?
300 million.
319.2.
Oh my gosh, I was so close.
Yeah. So have you seen Transformers?
Oh, hells yeah. I watched all of them.
Me too. Even
Except
the crappy
for the
Mark
last
Wahlberg
I
one.
think. Yeah, that was not very good.
Yeah. Although I did
Plays
kind of
the dad.
enjoyed it. TJ Miller like evaporates, he gets shot and then just turns into dust.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. Bumblebee was okay.
I love Bumblebee. It's cute.
Yeah. So typically we go through horror movies that came out this segment of the show, but I've got a new one I want to do.
What the hell? I spent all this time researching movies.
I know.
And
We
you're
we
gonna
might revisit
switch
it.
it up
We'll
on
see how
me?
it goes. This
Oh.
segment is let's get to know our co-host, Angelus. So I got a series of 10 questions I'm going to ask you. Is that okay
10
with you?
questions?
Yeah, is that okay with you?
I do not consent.
One will be easy. It'll be horror related.
You're just trying to make me look bad in
No.
front of
One will be
listeners.
easy. What's one horror movie you think is overrated and why?
Are you trying to fucking
We're
get a bunch of
curious.
hate mail?
No, not at all. I'm just,
Not at
I just
all.
things I want to talk about. Like I just want to air it out on air. Think about it.
I have a lot on my mind, but I'm scared to say
No, well, what comes to mind?
it. And that's really overrated.
This is an open space, yeah.
Well,
Judgment free.
I have a lot of.
Okay, what one pops in your head?
It follows.
Ooh wee, damn. Why?
I just didn't think it was that scary. Everyone, like, I don't know, the ratings, the reviews say that it scared the shit out of him. I didn't think it was that scary.
Would you say it would be lazy writing?
No, it's not
No.
lazy writing. The premise, I don't know.
Okay.
Do you want another one?
Yeah. If you could instantly master any skill, what would it be and why?
Swimming.
Oh, you can't swim?
I'm an okay swimmer,
Okay.
but I don't know. Water freaks me the fuck out. Like, I can swim and I can get myself where I need to go.
Yeah.
But like jumping and plunging and going underwater, it scares me and I don't like it.
Oh, okay. Fascinating. Okay, this is number 3. What's your go-to comfort food during a movie marathon?
During a movie marathon?
Uh-huh.
Nachos.
Wow. Finger food, that's a little messy. What kind of nachos are you working
Not your
with?
stereotypical nachos.
Yeah.
Wait.
What?
My mom's cousins showed me how to make lazy nachos.
Oh, dude, with Doritos, nacho cheese.
Nope. You just fucking put corn chips
Uh-huh.
on a plate
Oh, yeah.
and throw a ton of
Cheese.
shredded cheese
And
and
microwave
microwave
it.
them.
Yeah. Dude, that's like bomb. That's how, growing up, that was our nachos. Legit nachos. Nice. So you're normal like all of us. Okay. This is number 4. We're almost halfway.
I'm sweating over here.
These are easy ones. Would you rather always have to sing instead of speak or dance everywhere you go?
It's dance.
Dance? Why? What would you dance to?
Fucking anything. Whatever. I'm not a singer.
Okay.
I'm very self-conscious
Okay.
of my singing.
So, okay, cool. Number 5. If you could swap lives with any celebrity for a day,
Oh,
who would it
Lord.
be? And what's the first thing you'd do?
I would swap lives with fucking Leo and take off on a yacht.
Leo who?
Leonardo DiCaprio, baby.
Okay, all right.
Or I don't know, someone else who owns a yacht. I just want to go spend a day on the water.
Okay. Okay. Okay, number 6.
Wait, I didn't prepare questions for you. This is not fair.
This is only getting to know Angelus, our co-host. Number 6. If animals could talk, which one do you think would be the rudest and why?
Wellesley, dude. He's an asshole.
Who's Wellesley? So for the listeners that have never listened to us before.
Our cat.
Our cat. Mm-hmm. He's a little
Throws
sassy.
The biggest tantrums. If something is in the way of the couch, she will spray it. And she's not very nice about it.
Okay. I'm looking. Number 7. If you had to choose one horror villain to be your roommate, who would you pick and why?
Ooh, one horror villain.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have weird classifications for horror villains.
Anyway, what comes to mind?
I don't know. That's a hard question. There's a lot of horror villains.
Okay. I'm thinking for a roommate, I would say either Jason or Michael. They're quiet. They're not going to disturb you. And just chill. It wouldn't be Freddy Krueger. He's just going to be constantly waking you up.
I would go with Chucky.
Oh, shit.
He's entertaining.
Okay. But he'll go away when necessary.
Yeah,
so my next...
Just have him tell me about how many people he's tried to possess.
All right. We got 3 more. If you could have dinner with any horror movie character, who would it be and what would you ask them? This one's a layup, bro.
Character. And what would I ask them?
I know what mine would be.
Who would yours be?
No, you go first.
Why are you putting me on the spot? My mind's going to blank. Ooh, a predator. Any predator. And ask them, like, tell me the story of the universe. And what's the coolest planet they visited?
Oh, okay.
What's yours?
Mine would be Leatherface, and I will ask, is my skin good enough to wear?
It puts the lotion on the skin.
And then number 9, we got 2 more. Number 9, which horror movie trope do you secretly love, even though it's overused?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Okay.
What would yours be?
The trope?
Mm-hmm.
Mine would be that's constantly overused. Would be, oh my God, I had sex, so now I'm gonna die.
Okay, I have one. Teenagers having sex.
Oh my God. Okay. So here's the last question.
Okay.
Looking for it. I have it. Sorry. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? And how would you go about it?
One horse-sized duck or 100
sized duck-sized horses? 100 of them.
I think I would just fight one horse-sized duck.
Oh shit! How would you go about it?
Punch him on the throat.
A throat punch? You got that strong of a punch? That's
I don't know.
crazy.
Grab a stick or something. Just pull a young Michael, and wham.
Would you prepare it? Would you eat it? Prepare
The
a feast.
duck? Hell yeah. We would have
Have you ever had
Thanksgiving in
duck?
August. I don't think so.
Oh.
Have you?
Huh.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it's oily, greasy.
Oh,
Have you ever had bear?
no.
I have. That is greasy. I don't like it.
Crazy.
No, it's too greasy. But anyways, thank you for participating in this segment. If you guys liked it, I don't know. This is the first time, so bear with us. This is the first time we've done it, but get to know your co-host. And it's always going to be Angelus if we do this.
What? No, why?
And we won't do this every episode.
We want to know about Richard. Send us a message if you guys want to do one, but it's Richard on the hot seat.
And if you have questions, that's great too. The weirder, the better, please. But we'll always ask Angelus. So anyways, 2007, Halloween.
2007 Halloween. I graduated that year. It was a fresh duck out of high school.
So this movie, it was released in August 31st, 2007. Its budget was modest. It was $15 million. It did gross, though, $80.3 million worldwide. It was primarily shot in California. Specific locations include South Pasadena, which was also used in Carpenter's original Halloween, and various locations in Los Angeles. South Pasadena served as a fictional town of Haddonfield, Illinois, providing a familiar setting for fans of the original film. The Myers house scenes were filmed at a different location in the same area, adding the authenticity of the remake. So, yeah. And then, did you have anything on that stuff at all?
Yeah.
Before we get into the cast?
The movie did not release on Halloween like the original because there was fear of going head-to-head with Saw 4 that came out on Halloween 2007.
I think this would have crushed that. Saw, the fourth Saw? Come on. That's some, like, girl pair of cojones.
Girl pair of cojones. I did see that John Carpenter did give his blessing on this movie.
He did.
And told Rob Zombie, go make it your own. Because so many people had tried to make something of it.
And it's complete garbage, but I think Rob's unique take was great. Did you know a friendship happened out of this movie?
Mm-mm.
Similar to us, Scout, Taylor Compton, and Danielle Harris have a podcast called Talk Scary to Me.
Oh.
And they first met on this very movie.
Very nice.
Incredible, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, listen to Talk Scary to Me. It's a very good one. And I think you guys enjoyed if you enjoyed this podcast. They probably a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, you listen to us two knuckleheads, but hopefully you find us entertaining. Anyways, back to the movie. How did you feel about this cast?
It had some interesting characters that I was not expecting, or I didn't know they were here. Well, that I hadn't watched it before, but I figured, given that Sherry was going to be part of it.
So, with Rob Zombie, he has a certain crew that he always brings on to every movie he does. So that was to be expected. But then the rest of them that filled out the cast, I think, were pretty good. Also, I like the cast. But I'm a little biased because I typically like Rob Zombie movies. And I like is the acting the greatest? No. But are they like acting at least? Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't mind it.
Yeah. I think the actors that were cast for these characters, they did a freaking amazing job.
What I like about Rob Zombie movies, the characters, these actors go weird. And they like really push it to uncomfortable levels sometimes.
Oh.
And I really like that uncomfortable zone. Like when I watch a movie and I'm like squeaming over something, it's kind of like, oh, they did the trick. Yeah, I'm feeling something. They make me feel something. Usually, yeah, it's like awkward and weird, which that's why I like Rob Zombie movies. But so Malcolm McDowell, he plays Dr. Samuel Loomis. With him, I like this choice because Rob was going for something different with the direction of the psychiatrist Loomis. So the originals did good, and his character is such a legendary character, it would be hard to replicate. So he wanted a more over-centric guy and characters. So I like how Malcolm McDowell portrayed the character. He's really good. And so notable works though that he's in, everybody should know this: Clockwork Orange, Caligula, and then what I only wrote 3 of them, but Star Trek Generations 1994. I remember him in that.
He was also in Cat People.
Mm-hmm. He was in a bunch.
He was in a TV show called Pearl and then Halloween 2. He was in Heroes.
Yeah.
Mozart in the Jungle. And he was in another TV show called Son of a Critic for 2 years, it looks like.
Yeah. He's had a series of television appearances.
He's been acting since before our parents were born.
Yeah, that's insane. Definitely a legend. I really liked him in this.
I think he did really good. A Clockwork Orange, I started watching it. I haven't been able to finish watching it. It made me feel kind of weird. They were too
psychological.
wild. Yeah, they were all over the place. I was like, oh, this is dark.
So, what do you like better? You had to have seen the original Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasance, right?
No.
You don't remember him? Okay.
Richard.
Sweet Lord, baby Jesus. We're losing credibility fast. Anyways, so, okay. I like Donald Pleasance quite a bit. Is Malcolm McDowell to the Donald Pleasance level? No. I like how Donald Pleasance did it. He was a mainstay, but I can appreciate how Malcolm McDowell played this role.
Okay.
And they did. He made it his own, which is cool. The next guy we have is the dude who played Michael Myers, Tyler Mane. He was a performer. He was a former professional wrestler. He turned actor. I do remember him in this, but he had makeup on. I didn't really notice him in this. I couldn't make up the face until I seen his name. He was Sabretooth in the original X-Men's movie, which was pretty cool.
He was just in the Deadpool and Wolverine as well.
Yep. Oh, was he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we got to go see that, dude. We're behind the 8 ball. Everybody's like posting like content about it, but we're not that type of people.
We're just been fucking busy. August and July, we're just...
dude, we better go see Alien Romulus, though.
No breather.
We got to make it a point to see Romulus.
We'll try.
Babe, you got to promise me.
What?
I'm waiting for a promise.
We'll try. There's been a lot of movies that I wanted to go watch at the movie theater, and we just haven't made it.
We haven't been able to. It sucks. So, did you like this Michael Myers?
I did. I like
the long hair, the grungy look.
Yeah, he was very grungy. I feel like him being this tall and this big just made him a little bit more intimidating. Because, like, imagine you going up to this guy. So he's the tallest actor to ever play Michael. He's like 6'8", almost 7 feet tall.
He's a big hulking guy.
Imagine walking up to someone in this fucking suit and a mask just staring down at you. I would like fucking piss my pants and be like, my bad, sorry, I'm in your way.
It's intimidating for sure. Yeah, I liked him quite a bit. But all the Michael Myers I like Nick Castle, the original. But how'd you feel the girl that played Laurie Strode, Scout Taylor Compton? How'd you feel about her?
I feel like she did well at playing the sweet, innocent little sister. Do you know that Emma Stone also auditioned for this role?
Oh, wow.
I think she would have been another Scream queen. I think she could have pulled
Emma
it
Stone?
off.
Oh,
yeah.
You really think so? I think she could have played the innocence well.
Yeah.
But in 2007, she wasn't quite a big name yet. Superbad hadn't come out yet, right?
It came out that year following, 08?
2008?
Or 09, something like that?
I think 2008. I think I was in high school.
So she was close.
Yeah, it could have 2007. I don't know. But that would have been right around the time she was kind of ready to break out. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I liked Scout in this. She was pretty good. She's also in The Runaways 2010 and Sleepover 2004.
Mm-hmm. She was also in 13 going on 30. And she was in Charmed for like 6 years.
Oh, shit. I never watched Charmed, really.
I never did either, but Wicked Little Things, I remember watching that movie and I didn't realize this was her in there.
Oh.
It's like a low-budget horror movie.
Yeah, so I really liked her in this. I thought she did a pretty good job. The innocence factor, and then not her fault, but there was a lot of screaming. It was very reminiscent to I Know What You Did Last Summer, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like towards the end, I'm not going to lie, it got a little annoying. I'm like, I get it. It's a traumatic experience, but damn. Be quiet.
Don't be quiet.
Can you say this next actor's name, the young Michael?
Dag Farge? I can.
Farge? So we're probably butchering the name, but I really like this kid in this. He did a really fucking good job.
He did.
His previous work that I seen was he hasn't done a whole lot, but he was in Hancock with Will Smith. Mm-hmm. He was getting jiggy with it with Will Smith.
Yeah, he has his credits. He's been in a lot of shorts. Necromance, Run Bitch Run, Mental, Killer Therapy, Eye Challenger in 2022 was the most recent thing that I saw for him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought he fucking played this well. I guess he went through a lot of training for this movie to play this psycho.
Well, he pulled off that creepy element very well. I could feel it.
Yeah. You can definitely feel it. You can see it right off the bat when he first comes onto the screen.
That look he has on his face.
Yeah, wearing that creepy ass mask, those eyes.
Yeah.
Man, he did a good job. Then we have Sherry Moon Zombie, which we all kind of know her background. All the Rob Zombie movies. Well, you got Devil's Rejects, one of my favorite movies. House of a Thousand Corpses is entertainment. Three from Hell is okay. I actually have come around on what's the Salem. God, what was the one Rob Zombie directed? It was Witches.
Oh, the Lords of Salem?
Yeah, Lords of Salem. I actually come around on that. I watched it a while ago, and it changed my mind on that one.
I did notice that there was a couple of roles in her movies.
Yeah.
Where her character name was Baby or something along the names of
Devil's
Baby.
Rejects, yeah.
No, there was more than one movie where her name was just
Three from Hell.
Baby.
And then 31. Maybe?
Three from Hell. House of a Thousand Corpses, it was Baby Firefly.
Yeah.
And then, the Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, so it was all one character. Yeah.
Well, I've only seen 1,000 Corpses.
Oh. Well, we got to watch those. The Devil's Rejects is probably my favorite. Three from Hell is okay. I'm not a huge fan of it. And then 31, I seen parts of it. I didn't really watch all of it. I don't know why I didn't.
I did see she was in a episode of CSI Miami.
Oh my God.
I know. And then she was in another episode of another TV show.
Dude, I always wanted, growing up, I wanted to play one of the bodies in the morgue that they examine. Like the dead body.
Wait, were you lay there like completely butt naked?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be like in a
I want to
bag,
be
modestly
completely
covered?
like I want to be unzipped, and then in the intro where the Who come in and it's like, yeah. I always imagine I'm like, I can do that.
Tie a belt to your toe. Make sure you don't come back alive.
How'd you like? I think Ronnie White, William Forsythe. How'd you like him? He played he always plays a good prick.
He's a good asshole.
Yeah, he specializes in that. He was in The Rock, 1996, and then Raising Arizona in 87. This guy's been doing it a while, and he literally is the same character in almost every movie.
He was in Once Upon a Time in America, American Me,
Deuce Bigelow,
The Substitute. He was also in The Devil's Reject, The Man in the High Castle, and more recently in 9 Windows.
Ooh. And then we have, okay, do you know who Danielle Harris is?
Annie.
Huh?
No, I don't know. Danielle Harris?
Yeah.
Isn't that Annie?
Annie?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Never mind. I thought it was the character on the movie.
Well, it is Annie Brackett, but do you know why she's important?
Oh, because she was in other Halloween movies.
Yeah, she was a huge one. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers in 88, and then Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, 1989. I actually enjoy those ones.
The older ones?
Yeah, like those ones are good, where she plays a really good scared kid.
Oh.
Very traumatic. But those ones I always grew up watching because they're always on AMC, the network. And every Halloween they'd play 4 and 5 all the freaking time. So I just watched. So like Poltergeist 3, that was always on WGN.
So that's
Halloween 4 and 5 were always on AMC every year. So
you were forced to like them.
Exactly. So they have a soft spot in my heart. Do you know Brad Dourif, who plays Sheriff Lee Brackett? You should know this guy.
Yes, Chucky,
he's a legend. And then One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was his big break. I remember him that. He's fucking badass. But Chucky, dude, this guy was my fucking nightmares growing up. His voice, I would hear his voice. If you listen to episode 1, you realize like my mom was so funny. She would leave the USA Network on, and then Child's Play would come on, and I'd scream at the top of my lungs. Freaked out.
How old were you freaking out?
Dude, it was like I was like 3. And this happened a few years too. Pretty much my whole childhood.
I remember like he was creepy, but I wasn't that scared of him. Not as scared as I was of what's the other movie with the
Puppet
puppets?
Master?
Puppet Master.
The Drill Head.
And then The Exorcist and Freddy, I think, were a little bit more scary.
Chucky got me. Oh my God. I don't want to relive it. And I already told the story, but I had pretty much a Mr. Good Guy. My buddy.
That sucks. I was going to get a Chucky doll for the new bunker.
I want to on eBay. I want to buy a My Buddy doll.
My buddy.
My buddy. All right. Sorry. ADD brain. Who else do we have? Oh, before you finish out the cast, I need to bring it up. Our boy, we already covered him in Predators 2010. We got to give him his roses in this. And he doesn't get enough love in his movies. Danny Trejo.
Ismael Cruz.
I fucking, dude, he was good to Little Mikey, and he got the worst, arguably the worst death, man. He got tortured.
I know, you were so upset.
I was like, no, not Trejo.
He's torturing him the most, and he was the nicest of the staff there.
He was. Even to the very end, he was fucking nice to him.
He was being very gentle with him and very respectful.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck. But anyways, let's round out the rest of the crew here.
We have Christina Klebe.
Oh, dude, Dee Wallace also makes an appearance in this. She's a legend. As
Linda Vanderklok.
Do you know what movie she was in?
No.
She was the mom. She's everybody's mom, dude. E.T., Cujo.
Linda?
What? Jeepers Creepers 3?
Christina?
What? Dee Wallace.
Oh, Dee Wallace.
Wallace.
We're not talking about the same person anymore.
Oh. Okay, continue. Guys,
we also have
a lot of these are overread.
Easterbrook as Patty Frost, Richard Lynch as the principal, and Nick Mennel as Bob Sims, and Tom Towles as Larry Redgrave.
Hey, you also forgot Sig Haig. He was the cemetery.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and he's in all Rob Zombie movies. Well, he just not recently. He died in 2019, unfortunately.
Oh.
I fucking love Sid Haig, man.
I think that's it. There was a lot of cast in this movie.
Yeah, it was good. All in all, I enjoyed the cast. Do you want to cover Rob Zombie, the writer and director of this outstanding Halloween movie?
Rob Zombie, born Robert Bartlett Cummings, born in Massachusetts, January 1965.
Bartlett.
He loved horror movies growing up, which influenced his music and his filmmaking career. After graduating, he moved to New York City and attended Parsons School of Design.
And then White Zombie.
And he was briefly working as a production assistant on Pee-wee's Playhouse in 1986. Back then, he had a girlfriend, Sean Iseult. They co-founded the band White Zombie after Bela Lugosi's classic horror film of the same name, White Zombie.
Yeah.
And then they started releasing music. And then in 2000, he began working on his first directional debut, House of a Thousand Corpses, which was inspired by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh, ooh.
And then it did receive criticism for explicit depictions of violence and gore. How dare he? But it did gain, it grossed $16 million. Not bad for being his first movie.
Yeah.
And then in 2002, he ditched his first girlfriend and married Sherry Moon Zombie.
Ditched?
He did.
Oh my God.
Who has appeared in all of his movies to date and often goes with him apparently on tours.
Yeah.
To choreograph dance routines. So she's his sidekick.
They're pretty close.
And then, House of a Thousand Corpses, followed by The Devil's Rejects in 2005. And then, like you mentioned, he has a gang that he often cast. Sid Haig.
Yep.
Sherry Moon, Bill Moseley.
Do you know where Bill Moseley came from?
Where did he come from?
Originally? Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Whoop, whoop.
What? Was he in The Hills Have Eyes, the original one?
I don't remember. One thing that I saw that was interesting for him, I don't know, apparently Rob Zombie is a vegan and an animal rights activist. One thing that I found interesting for his movie, for this Halloween that we're covering today, is so he went in originally to the Weinsteins,
yeah.
and he had an idea for 2 movies. So he wanted one movie to cover Michael Myers' childhood and the second one to be the remake. And they said, Hills to the No, which is why the movie, the first half of it covers Michael's young life. And then the second one essentially takes on the remake of Halloween.
Uh-huh.
He did say that working with the Weinsteins was a miserable experience making Halloween 1, and he was very hesitant to make the second one.
Yeah, he didn't even want to make the second one.
He was hoping that it would be a better experience making the second one because the first one did so well and it was such a hit.
Yeah, but it was actually a worse experience.
He said it was worse. They didn't trust him. Apparently, they kept showing him like scenes from Halloween 1 to be like, this is what we want. And he's like, yeah, I know, I made the first one.
Yeah.
But
wow, he pretty much had a Me Too story.
He had, yeah.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Insensitive. I know. We're all about peace and love, peace and love, peace and love.
He wrote the movie.
So I got a little bit on that. His influences for Halloween where he sought to blend his gritty, raw filmmaking style with a deeper exploration of Mikey Myers and his backstory. His influences included classic horror films. The original Halloween was big time, obviously, by John Carpenter. And he just had a desire to create a more psychological and character-driven narrative, which I thought you would like about this movie. Zombie aimed to humanize Michael Myers by delving into his troubled childhood and providing a detailed origin story, differentiating his remake from the 78 classic. So I think he did a really good job of that, showing like a traumatic experience where I don't know, like you feel bad for the kid.
Yeah.
But by the time he's grown up, yeah, I don't feel bad. Like
you don't feel bad for him?
It's like, whoa, he needs to be put down. Yeah, he
I
had a
still
rough
feel
life.
a little bit bad for him.
Damn, you did? You had sympathy?
He was trying to get back his little sister. What for? I don't know.
Yeah, but he had some crazy shit in his head, man.
He did. He just needed help and to be locked up again.
Yeah.
Sad story.
But he killed, what was his name? Ismail?
Ismail.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. It's embedded in him. It's who he is.
He had that demon. He has that dark passenger.
He lacks the part of his brain that has empathy.
I did want to touch base on, did you have any more on Rob?
No, just the films we already covered when we talked about Sherry.
Okay. I did want to touch on the effects and makeup team. They did a really good job. Wayne Toth was special makeup effects artist. He has a long history of working with Rob Zombie, providing his expertise in practical effects to create gruesome and realistic makeup for this one, Halloween. You had Michael Deek, who makeup effects technician, who helped. Douglas No, makeup department head. Chris Zega and Brian Ray were also makeup technicians. And the person who did Michael Myers' hair, Yvonne DePatis.
He had someone for his messy hair.
And then Renee Ferruga and Vicky Mines, also key hairstylists. So, and then a special effects coordinator, Mark Byers.
Okay.
So I just wanted to bring these guys up because, man, they did a kick-ass job, I think, with in a world of, at this time, 2007, CGI was rampant and taking fucking off. Rob Zombie's awesome in the fact that he is,
they kept degrading.
Lack of a better term, he's a purist. Like, he's a purist to the art, and that's what I appreciate in horror movies. What I like, I always say that, right? I'm like, oh, there's too much CGI on this. Like, you can tell when a blood splatter's CGI. I like that natural. You get that like blast pack in that blood splatter is perfect. I like it because it just makes it feel more authentic and real, in my opinion. So I want to give it a shout out to the special effects artists because I do believe that's a dying art.
Sadly, yes.
Dying art, man, as we get all digitalized. Anyways, I'm not trying to fly through this, but do you want to take a quick commercial break?
Let's do it.
Our new sponsor, Haddonfield Family Counseling. So just listen.
Give him a call.
All right, we will be right back. Do you have a stepdad who's a total asshole? Or a sinful sister who thinks she's God's gift to the world? Or maybe a mom who moonlights as a stripper?
Does all this make you want to mutilate small, innocent animals? Or maybe start wetting the bed again? Well, that's a recipe for disaster, my friend. But don't worry, we're here to help you.
At Haddonfield Family Counseling, we specialize in untangling the twisted knots of your family drama before you start carving your frustrations into more than just pumpkins.
We get it. Family can be a real humdinger. But instead of turning that anger into a bloody mess, why not let our experts help you channel it into something a little more constructive?
Whether you're dealing with a stepdad who's a real knucklehead, a sister who sins too much for Sunday, or a mom who's better at pole dancing than parenting, we've got you covered.
So, if your home life feels like it's straight out of a slasher film, let us help you avoid the sequel. At Haddonfield Family Counseling, we'll make sure you don't end up starring in your own horror story.
Haddonfield Family Counseling, where we turn family feuds into family bonds and make sure the only thing you're cutting are bad habits.
Thanks, Haddonfield Family Counseling. You saved my family. Hey, Mom, can we get a pet rat?
Oh, sweetie, we can talk about it after family night.
All right, more human than human. We were rocking out to Rob Zombie on our break. Man, we almost got through the whole
Song?
whole album.
The whole album. Which album? I forgot the name.
What
I
album?
was rocking out to Madonna.
Richard's looking it up.
I'm like a little prayer.
Couldn't remember what
Trying to
one we
take
had.
Me there.
Man, it wasn't that one.
My knees.
Oh, it was Hellbilly Deluxe. That's
It's
our
not-
Viana's review corner. I don't know. She was hanging out. Weird.
Weird.
But anyways, we're back, man. It's plot time.
Plot time.
Ooh. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
It's the face off.
All right. Do you want to go first?
No, you
Did
go
you have
first.
time to write your plot?
I did.
Did you?
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Was that copy and pasting?
It came out of my noggin.
Came out of your noggin? Oh,
Mhm.
man. Let's hear it, dude.
It was pieced together.
All right.
Okay. Plot time.
Plot, 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 plot.
A mix of unfortunate family trauma, mental illness, bullies, and teenage lust brew the perfect recipe for a young Michael Myers. Take a look behind the mask and the people who never gave up on him and worked relentlessly on helping him process his trauma and stop him from becoming the monster we all know. Inevitably, Michael returns to Haddonfield to heal broken family bonds. Is this the way Michael regains his humanity? Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. Decent.
Decent?
I
You
like it.
it? You approve?
It's okay.
You approve for writing it in like less than 5 minutes?
No, you did pretty good. Mine. All right. In this raunchy, gritty reboot, we dive deep into the Michael Myers messed up childhood, where he's more twisted than a pretzel at a carnival. Fast forward to adult Michael Myers escaping the psych ward, ready to slice through Haddonfield like a hot knife through butter. Laurie Strode, our unsuspecting babysitter, has no clue she's about to star in her own horror show. Dr. Loomis, the world's least successful shrink, is hot on Michael Myers' trail, dropping wisdom like a drunk uncle at Thanksgiving.
Jesus.
Expect blood, guts, and dark laughs in this brutal reimagining. And the dark laughs are from me.
You win.
You like it? You really like it?
Show off.
All right.
A twisted pretzel.
At
And
the
what did you call the
carnival,
doctor?
like a drunk uncle at Thanksgiving. He's dropping wisdom.
Bam, bam. Michael, don't. Michael, come back.
Michael, no.
It's my fault. Michael. Please,
Wow, you're
please
saying Michael
come
a lot.
back. Michaela.
Okay. So that's our plot.
Are you gonna finally like send it to me so we can upload it?
That one I do feel good enough.
Oh,
that
what
let's
the
send
hell
it out.
ever, really?
Were you kind of? I don't want to criticize because I love you, and this is just straight like from the heart. But I think you phoned that one in.
I phoned that one in.
Yeah, you phoned it in, man.
That's okay.
It's cool. I'm giving my heart, my blood, my soul to this, and all you do is write that. I'm kidding. It's really good, actually.
Well, next time I'll just Google it, Richard.
I'm impressed. Do you want to get in the scene for scene? Let's get that breakdown. God, I feel like we're flying through this. It's not as warm in here.
Is that what you're...
It's warm, but...
It's not that warm.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay. Scene by scene.
All right. So... we have a introduction to the movie. We come in. Soundtrack, by the way, is
Rob Zombie?
No. He curated it, but the soundtrack, by the way, is really good. I like it. We start with Kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
What was the song?
God of Thunder. I thought it was really good. And then we come in, we pan into Michael Myers with his pet rat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did he call it? Like
Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis. He's like, oh, you're so cute, Elvis. And grabbed it. And you're like, oh, he's very sweet. He has a pet rat. That's weird. Not weird at all. And he's petting it a little too aggressively. And he has a mask on. So you right off this, like in the beginning, you see, oh, this is a little weird. This kid's wearing a child mask.
A clown mask.
In his room while he's holding a pet rat. So instantly you're kind of like, oh, that's messed up. But as he's doing that thing, it goes and it pans into the kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we see Michael's mom and, I don't know, stepdad, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
Ronnie is the stepdad. What's the mom's name?
Deborah.
Is it Deborah?
Mm-hmm.
They're bickering. She's making breakfast. He's sitting there. And, dude, this is the Rob Zombie, like, writing, which... I'm not the only one, and I don't have this original thought, but I feel it's accurate is if Rob Zombie, because his directing is really good, like his direction on a movie, like he films stuff really well, and his vision's good, but the writing is always like a step behind, like it ruins the movie a little bit. Because this right here in this scene, it's super vulgar and it's meant to be like over the top and maybe he's trying to be a little bit humorous with this.
Okay.
But it's not, I don't know. Like, how would you explain? Like, what are they talking about?
I think they're trying to paint the stereotypical, like,
well, they're trying to paint how fucked up this family is.
Dysfunctional family. Like, Deborah standing there in underwear in a robe making breakfast. Like the whole setup, they're arguing about money and the kids.
And then he just makes the comment about the clerk, the grocery clerk with her breasts.
Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, I'll have those flabby pancakes in my face or whatever.
Yeah, and she's like, so she's the only money maker in the family currently.
Yeah, because he's all beat up, and they don't explain why he is. He's wearing a cast.
Oh, I have why. I don't know why.
But it doesn't in the movie. It doesn't in the
movie. In real life, it was a real life cast. He had an accident.
Oh, shit.
So they just had to write that into the movie. And then the only thing they wrote into the movie was a cast on his arm. But his leg that was real.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. He got beat up maybe in the movie. Yeah. But they didn't explain it.
No, but you kind of see he's a real goofball. A real knucklehead.
A garbage person.
Yeah, so it kind of implies maybe he got in a fight, got his ass kicked.
He's just an ass. The baby's crying. And he's like, that's all the kid does. It's just, meh. And mocks the baby.
Yeah, and then he's just real asshole. And then the nasty, weird part, too, was when the older daughter,
Judith.
Yeah, Judith walks in, and I don't know what they talk about.
She's dressed a little provocative, like booty shorts, and goes for the cereal.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to give it in, and Deborah's like, I'm making breakfast. She's like, no thanks, just having cereal. And she turns around and he sees her in short shorts and he's like,
Well,
oh.
the mom, Deborah's like, hey, go get your brother. And she's like, God, why do I have to do that? Blah, blah, blah. And she goes upstairs. And then as she's walking out, that's when he's like, damn, your daughter has a nice dumper.
Yeah.
That, to me, that grossed me out. She's like 16 or 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, bro.
And I mean, she does have a reaction. She like spills his coffee. And then they start bickering again. You just hear yelling.
Yeah.
Yelling in the background.
Right. And then, yeah, with Rob Zombie, there's always a lot of bitch, fuck you.
Yeah.
A lot of bitch being thrown around. A lot of vulgar grittiness, which I can appreciate, but I just feel like a little bit of better writing would go a long ways with this movie. I think it would have transformed this movie to a higher level had it had better writers.
I don't know. I feel like it gave me trashy family vibes.
But I know this did, and you could have got it in a better, tasteful way, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
You don't agree? You think it's perfect?
I don't know.
I would have approached it a little bit differently. I wouldn't have went as vulgar.
Example.
I wouldn't have went as vulgar. But now, at this point, the sister Judith goes upstairs. She's pounding on the door. Again, the vulgarness. Like, hey, bro, quit masturbating or quit jerking off. And he's like, Judith, get out of here. And at this point, it shows him in the bathroom washing his hands. His hands are bloody, implying that he killed Elvis.
It's a tiny little pocket knife.
Yeah, so it's showing that he's having issues right now. Like, you can clearly tell the kid's going through some shit.
And you can immediately tell the kid has issues because he yells and he's like, leave me alone. And he just like starts screaming on top of his lungs.
Yeah, exactly. He's got some issues he doesn't know how to handle.
Yeah, rage.
Anger.
Lots of rage.
Yeah. And then they end up going downstairs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
they go downstairs and then she's like, what took you guys so long? And the sister again making jokes that he was playing with himself or whatever. And he's like, oh, Elvis died. And Deborah's like, oh, we'll get you another one after school.
Yeah, and Judith's like, oh, did you pet it too hard?
Yeah.
And then the stepdad, Ronnie's like, oh, we should call him Michelle. He's like, he acts like a little bitch.
Yeah, and just an ass.
Yeah, he's just a piece of shit. And then, so they're kind of ignoring him at that point. And then he ends up going to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it shows him in the bathroom. He's going to the bathroom. He's in the stall. And then, what's his name? The Cortez boy in Spy Kids.
I don't remember his name.
He comes walking in, the bully. He's the school bully. So he walks in with his friend. They're talking shit about something. Just, you can tell they're setting him up to be a bully.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael is like, oh, shit. He's like, man, they're here. So he gets a little quiet. And then he goes and washes his hands. And he's going to walk through. So credit to him. He's not like super scared. But he's like, fuck. He knows something's on the horizon. He's just trying to keep his head down and kind of move along. And they stop him. And then, again, it's like super dark because they're like, hey, I don't know what they're calling them pretty vulgar words.
The sister gets around.
Yeah, your sister's a slut.
The mom shows her boobs.
Yeah, and they have a picture of his mom as a stripper.
Yeah.
Like and it shows it and it's like, dude, and they're like, whoa, I wonder if your mom would suck, just super vulgar stuff.
For $1 or whatever. Just like they're nothing.
Like egging him on and really saying some messed up shit. Even I would like freak out.
Oh, yeah.
And so, dude, and Michael does. He ends up swinging on him, and credit to him. I mean, two guys, bigger guys, and they all start fighting. And then the older principal, he walks in. He's like, "What's going on in here?" Right?
Yeah, he breaks it up.
And again, this is showing Michael he has some issues because he's like, "What's going on?" It's quiet, and then he just stares that principal down and he yells, "Fuck you!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit.
He's like, excuse me?
Yeah, he's like, excuse me, what do you say? Which, I don't know. Would you in that situation nail that? Because I would be petrified.
I personally wouldn't, but I feel like, I don't know if this was his outlet. This is where he let it out that those two bullies were just picking on him. But it was just interesting that he chose to direct his anger at another adult instead of the actual bullies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was directing his anger at them too, but he doesn't care who you are, authority figure or not. He's gonna fucking let you know.
Yeah.
Like, he can't handle his anger. I mean, he's impulsive. So now he gets sent to the principal's office. His mom gets called in. Deborah's pissed.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, but she's not pissed at him per se.
Yeah.
She's more pissed at the principal for calling him. She's like, you're always calling me in here every week. What the fuck? Every day, every 5 minutes. And the principal's like, do you think I like calling you every 5 minutes? I don't want to. I have other things to do. Your kid's a fucking rotten child.
Yeah. So she's not the best parent. She's complaining about, instead of trying to figure out what's wrong with him and get him help, she's mad that they're calling her because he's misbehaving.
Right. And I think she does acknowledge he has issues, but doesn't to a full extent either.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's super she's like a typical mom. My kid, maybe he has issues, but they're not the issues you're talking about. Like, they're not that bad. And at this point, the psychiatrist Loomis comes in. I love this to make him younger looking. They give him long gray hair. I always love that in
more
movies.
Like a silver.
I'm happy that they do it though, that natural kind of look, and he does it well. That long hair is funny. It's in a ponytail.
It's down.
Is it in this one? Well, at some point he puts in a pony.
I don't remember.
He puts it up. But
and later on when they first take him in.
Yeah. So he walks in, he's like, hey, have you ever got your kid professionally evaluated by a psychiatrist? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? She's like, no, my kid doesn't have those issues. And then well,
actually,
take a look at this. And she's like, what am I looking at? And he's like, do you have a queasy stomach? And she's like, no, what? And as she's going through it, it's a bunch of dead animals that were clearly tortured and gutted. And she's like, oh my God, you're saying my son did this? They're like, yeah, we found it in his pocket. And we also found a dead cat in his backpack.
And a fucking Ziploc bag.
And she's like, so he's a boy. That's what they do. And they're like, well, not to this extent.
Yeah, and she asked, she's like, maybe he found a dead animal.
Totally, yeah,
like, nah.
Totally being naive about it. Doesn't want to hear this about her kid. I feel like we have all known parents like this, mothers. I know my mom was not super like this. She wouldn't say we're perfect, but at the same time, I know she wouldn't accept this.
Yeah, she's like, Michael loves animals. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, she doesn't know he's slaughtering rats every day.
Yeah, and then Dr. Loomis, he's like, well, this might be early signs. And they're talking to her. They want to get him evaluated and check him out.
And get help, man. They're not saying he's a lost cause. They want to help him before it's too late.
And then you hear that classic Halloween music, and the camera goes on to Michael. And then it's the end of the school day, and he takes off running while everyone else is still in this teacher meeting.
So this is kind of a weird scene because he sits there and he does take off running, and it's random, but then it randomly plays the it's cool. Okay, I get it. But they really forced that into that scene.
Oh, he's evil.
I don't think that should have been the song right there. I don't think there should have been.
Not yet.
It should have just showed him running out of there, and it could have played a dramatic sound. But they, the boys from the horror show, they like to say, they crowbarred that in. They just forced that fucking song in there. So that part, there's parts in this movie I'm just like, Rob, why'd you do that? But yeah, so he runs out and he leaves early. Parents don't care. They don't say anything.
I don't think they even noticed.
Well, they don't notice at that point, but when they walk out, they're going to notice. But later, they don't acknowledge that. But
he goes to his locker and grabs his
mask
to ghost killer kit.
Yeah, and then after school, it shows the bully walking outside, and he's like, man, that Myers kid is getting fucked up when I see him. I'm gonna beat his ass.
Mm-hmm.
My old man's gonna fucking rip me a new one if I get expelled or suspended again. And So then he starts walking away, and they really are hamming it up that he's a bully. Like, he grabs a kid's hat and he's like, "What, you want this?" and spits in it and gives it back to him. Like, they're paying him to be an asshole because what's coming to him, they want to like justify it a little bit.
Yeah. Did you ever have bullies like that at your school?
No.
I don't think
There's this one kid I went to pretty much elementary school and then middle school. His name was Patrick, and he lived across the street from Rogers High School. This fucking kid, he tried bullying me one time. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? And we've known each other forever, and this was in middle school. He like pushed me up randomly up against the locker in middle school. I'm like, Patrick, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah.
And he was just trying to act cool or something in front of like his friends. I'm like, hey man, do you want to talk about it? What's going on at home? And he was like, and then later, like, because it was weird.
Yeah.
Having the conversation, he's like, yeah, sorry, man.
That's all he did?
I'm
Just
like,
pushed up against the
yeah,
locker?
and he's like trying to talk shit. I'm like, I don't know why what? It was random. Like, I didn't talk to him for weeks or whatever. And then that all of a sudden he in the hallway did that. I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. What's your fucking deal? That was the only experience I had, though.
I have a story.
You had a bully?
I had a couple bullies, but when I was like in elementary school.
A couple bullies?
No, some kids were just assholes.
You got a list?
No, some kids were just assholes in high school. But no, in elementary school, there was this, in the same neighborhood where I grew up, there was this two sisters that lived down the street.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they were fairly nice.
What are their names?
We're not going to call them other names.
Laverne and Shirley.
Laverne and Shirley, the fuck?
Yeah. Okay, continue.
One of them, we were always, I don't know, I got along with both of them, but one of them, she was a little bit more like, I think she had really bad ADHD, and she would do random ass shit.
Okay.
And like hurt herself at times. And she was just random, and she was impulsive.
Yeah, that is a Laverne.
So there was this one day where it was raining, and we were walking home, and then they started falling behind, and I had this cute little umbrella, and then they started falling behind, the two sisters.
Yeah.
And then they started talking poop about me, and I can't remember what they were saying, but
they're talking poop, not shit.
They were talking mad elementary poop about me.
About what? What were they saying?
I don't remember. I just remember they were talking about me, and one of them, Laverne, used to pick on me more than the other one.
Shirley? Oh, shit.
And
that is a Laverne move.
I told my mom, and she's like, well, go tell their mom. And I remember there was this one time they did something. So I go to their house. I knock on the door. Their mom comes out, and I was like, hey, so-and-so said this to me. And then she pushed me, and her mom was like, ha, ha, ha. Oh, that kid. And she just chuckled. She's like, yeah, I'll talk to her. But she laughed. Like, she thought it was funny. And it wasn't the first incident. So I go back to my mom, and I was like, her mom just laughed and said she was going to talk to her. And they did it again. And so I came back home, and I was like, Mom, they did it again. And she was done. She's like, all right, next time they do it, you push them back. I was like, okay, I got the green light.
Yeah.
So the next time they were again picking on me, I started falling behind, and this time it was just one sister. The other one didn't go to school for some reason.
Yeah.
So I started falling behind, and I let her get in front of me. And as we get close to her house, I ran up to her and I pushed her. She fell on her knees, and I ran home, and I was like, ha ha, revenge is mine.
Damn. So she didn't even instigate it this time? You just shoved her?
It was my turn.
Oh, shit. Babe, I was prepared to have your back 100%, but two wrongs don't make a right, okay?
You know what?
We're not going to teach this to baby Chancho.
It did in my book. I needed to get one in.
Did it stop after that?
It did, surprisingly.
Okay, it worked.
It worked.
Well, fascinating. What about in high school?
Oh, there were just kids that said stupid things.
Oh, bastards. Okay.
But threw a bag of chips at one of them one time on his head.
Oh, dang. Do you still see these kids outside of high school?
No, I don't want to see them.
Never again? Oh,
no.
Man. I always like to imagine, like, the POSs in high school just now. They're just bald.
Oh, I know.
Tubby. They got fucking two rotten kids.
I know the one that I dumped the bag of chips on. He's not doing very well.
Oh.
Karma.
Well, still, hopefully. We're not ones to hate, so we wish well to
Says
everybody.
Richard.
Huh?
As
Oh
you
my-
pulled your paper
Oh my God.
in an angry fit.
So, and I think today's Halloween, I think is what they said, right, in the movie?
Yeah.
And they established. So the bully, back to the movie, the bully's walking through, he takes a shortcut, it looks like, to get home, and it's through the woods. As he's walking, Michael's there and he's kind of stalking him, and he grabs a stick and he hits the bully over the back, or he hits his legs, and the kid falls. He's like, what the hell? He's like, and then he turns around and sees it's Michael, and he's like, oh, you're going to get it. But Michael doesn't let him up. He just keeps hitting him. And then to the point where the guy's like starting to like cry, like, dude, stop. Like, you're hurting me. You're hurting me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sorry, man. You're hurting me. And his face is bloody. He's covered in dirt. And he's just getting fucked. Michael just keeps doing this. And they make it look like he's been doing it for a while. He is just beating the shit out of him. I don't know if because the kid ends up turning his back and then he just is kind of staring. Did he end up dying right there?
I kind of got the vibes that he did because he just hit him nonstop.
Yeah, he like beat him to death. So it doesn't confirm it, but it did look like he did that.
Yeah, because you see young Michael standing there, and the kid's not moving at the end of that scene.
No, and yeah, he's not moving at all. So, and I mean, cops aren't coming and people aren't reporting anything, so.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't happen.
You would think the cops would come directly once the kid said something. So, yeah, so it's probably safe to say the kid ended up dying.
And no one ever found his body. The end.
And this kind of unleashed, and you're going to see as the film progresses, this unleashed something in Michael, because now he's got kind of darker thoughts. You don't know yet. Like, he comes home, and he's very manipulative. He passes it along like he's innocent.
Mm-hmm.
But he clearly has a demon. And he gets home and he's sitting on the couch, and Ronnie is there, and he's just giving him shit again. Like, oh, you tortured all those innocent animals. Oh, you're a tough guy, huh? You're a killer, huh?
Yeah.
And then Michael's ignoring him. He's like, hey, Judith, I'm going to be late. And Ronnie just continues to kind of mock him.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom comes down. Deborah's like, hey, dude, stop. What the hell? Like, chill out. He's a kid. And she yells for Judith to come down, and because Michael wants to go trick-or-treating, and Judith is like, aren't you a little old for that shit? And can't you go by yourself?
His sister says that.
Yeah.
But his mom, she's like, well, I don't know, like, that you should go out trick-or-treating like you weren't after that shit you pulled at school today.
But
and then,
it's kind of like empty threats. Like,
we
all know those parents where it's empty threats, and the kids know it as well.
And then she backtracks a little bit. She's like, well, maybe you go, but tomorrow we'll get everything straightened out.
Yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow it's going to be different. And it never is, let's be real. It's status quo. And she's heading out. She's going to work her night job as a professional dancer.
Exotic dancer.
Yeah. But Judith then has her boyfriend come over, and Deborah, as she's leaving, she's like, hey, man, I want you out by 11. He's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I know what you're up to. and leaves, and then they end up going upstairs, and he's like, dude, aren't you gonna take me trick-or-treating? And she's like, no, you're on your own.
Yeah, she's like, you're too, aren't you? Yeah, that's when she makes the comment of, you're a little old.
Yeah, or the boyfriend, aren't you a little old for that? Well, have fun. And he's like, sorry, little dude. And then Michael ends up going trick-or-treating. It kind of shows him fucking around outside, right?
He looks very sad. Like, he was sitting on the sidewalk for a while, just kind of looking around, kids running around with other little friends.
So he's stewing. Like, there's some evil thoughts behind those eyes.
Very lonely.
I think he's thinking about shit, and he's angry. He's not showing it outwardly, but I think he's got anger inside. And this is kind of where I think Rob was trying to show him kind of meditating what he was going to do. because he went and trick-or-treated a little bit. Then he goes back inside. Ronnie's sleeping now at this point on the recliner. And he walks by and he goes and sits at the kitchen. He's still, again, meditating. You can tell he's like thinking about shit as he's eating it. And then he flicks the candy. He doesn't want it. It's crappy candy or whatever. But yeah, he's thinking about it. And then he gets up. And at this point, he's grabbing a knife and some duct tape. But as he's doing that, it pans to his sister, right?
Yeah.
His sister and her boyfriend are doing what teenagers do, home alone.
No,
this is why you don't shut your door. But yeah, they're fooling around. And I like this is the introduction to the Michael Myers William Shatner mask.
Okay.
The boyfriend wears it.
That was fucking weird.
That was stupid. I'm like, dude, you could have introduced this mask in a better way.
Yeah, they're making out. He's like, hold on, I have a surprise. Close your eyes, and there she is.
And she's not enthused. She's like,
okay,
take that shit off. He's like, I wanted to do it with the mask on.
Yeah, I was like, stupid.
Yeah, so they complete. They go to complete completion, but he ends up. Now it pans to Michael again, though, and this time he has Ronnie all taped up. His head's duct taped to the chair, his whole body. So now he's right behind Ronnie, and Ronnie's still passed out. He takes that butcher knife and slits Ronnie's throat. Ronnie wakes up, and he's choking on his own blood as he's like, blood's leaving his neck. I thought that was a pretty intense scene.
The one thing that I noticed is every time he's about to go into a little killing spree, he puts on a mask.
Well, yeah.
And on this scene too, he had it off, and right as he went to slice Ronnie's neck, he pulled it down on his face.
Well, he wanted to be like invisible. He wanted to be invisible.
Character.
But he also, invisibility, and then he also, if you noticed, he likes to stare in their eyes when they're dying. He likes to see the life leaving their body. Especially women, though. You notice that? Like the women, he's way more like looking at it.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, you'll have to watch it again because, yeah, he looks at him and just stares at as he's dying. And then now it pans back to the boyfriend. He's going downstairs and he's going to the kitchen to make a sandwich.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, he doesn't see Michael behind him, and Michael comes creeping up with an aluminum baseball bat. And we all know where this is going. And he continues to bludgeon the boyfriend to death. He just beats the living hell out of his skull, smashes his skull in. And it's a pretty intense scene also.
Yeah, the guy's on the floor is seizing. Like his entire body is just...
Yeah, he's twitching.
Seizing. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just fucking beats the shit out of him. He walks past it and he steps in the blood, doesn't even care, and he's leaving bloody footprints. And he then cruises up to
upstairs,
Judith's bedroom. She's still laying there. And then I had mentioned this to you when we watched it the final time. She had the headphones on listening to Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper, which that plays the effect because Rob then later in the movie, same room, different girl ends up listening to Blue Oyster Cult on the radio and ends up dying. Yeah, so it ties those together.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that at first, but it's the same room and everything and same kind of scene. But this scene right here, Michael walks in, he has the clown mask on. And she doesn't realize she's got headphones on facing the other way. And he takes that mask off and sees, and this is where he gets all the Halloween, the Michael Myers mask that we know and love. He gets that mask. He picks it up. And that's the origin story of how he got that mask. So he puts that on and he continues. It gets a little weird because he starts touching his sister with his bloody hands. Like kind of like, is it tickling? Or...
I don't know what the hell if he's caressing or if he's just out of character. But she thinks it's her boyfriend. And
she's like, oh, stop.
Yeah, she turns around and
she's like, Michael, what the fuck are you doing in here? Take that fucking mask off. talk to me.
Yeah,
And
he's
hits
not
him over the
talking
head.
at
Yeah,
all.
hits him over the head. He's just staring at her. And then out of nowhere, as she's like screaming at him, he stabs her with that butcher knife right in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's watching her like as she's like bleeding out. He really likes watching that shit. But she doesn't die right there, because then it shows her slowly like staggering out the door trying to escape, and he's just slowly walking behind her,
Behind her like a
watching
little
her die
creep.
as he's like stabbing her in the back. He ends up stabbing her 17 times.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like he was very aggressive with her. And then after he's done with that, he ends up walking. And when I first seen this movie, what did you think when you initially saw this with the baby in the crib?
I didn't think he was gonna go for her.
You didn't think so?
No, because earlier he had shown signs of like he cared about the baby. Like when there's all the bickering downstairs with the family having breakfast, he went up to her and he kissed her on the head. Like she was the only one that he was sweet to. And so I was like, I don't think he will, but don't kill the baby.
Yeah.
And this all happens, like Judith, I don't know if you noticed that Judith, like, she fell right outside the baby's room, so he just walks right in with the mask in, and then he takes it off.
He steps over Judith, and he takes the mask off, and then obviously the baby knows him, and she's comfortable.
Yeah, he's like, Happy Halloween, boo, and he kisses her on the forehead. So again, the only one that he has, like, some sort of...
And the mom.
Feelings for, yeah.
Yeah, he has empathy. He's sympathetic to him. So he ends up picking her up out of the crib or the playpen, whatever that is. And he ends up going downstairs, and he's sitting on the porch. But during all that's happening, they do at some point go to Deborah at her job. And it shows her dancing and kind of
working the pool.
Yeah, working that pool. She's working it hard. And it just shows her kind of dancing and then miserable, kind of how, she's getting through life.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was necessary to show it, but hey.
You got to. We don't know what that entails.
I mean, it kind of implied she was a dancer, but yeah. Anyways, it showed the strip club. It showed that. She's on her way home. She comes rolling up and sees Michael and the baby on the porch. She's like, oh my God, what happened now? She's like irritated. Like, what did Ronnie, that piece of shit, do this time?
Yeah, and Michael is just silent.
Yeah, and she's like, Michael, what's going on? Talk to me. What's up? What's going on?
On the background, you hear sirens. So did he call?
No, I think this is later. Like it starts blending the two scenes together.
Oh, okay.
Because then obviously she walks into the house. You're assuming that she sees all this and is mortified, calls the police, and now the news crew's there. It's explaining what happened. This is how you find out Judith was stabbed 17 times. And they just explain the horrific massacre that just happened. It was worse than Manson, they were saying. So then he's in the back of the cop car, and that's kind of the end of the scene, right?
Yeah, and the news, they're just like, 10-year-old boy held in custody. And they take him away.
So this point, this is where I think in the back of the car is where they could have done the
oh yeah, he's like, she'll be coming.
Yeah, that could have been the point when you're staring him in the eyes in that cop car and there's just nothing there. That would have been fucking awesome right there. And then it would have started the whole tone of the movie. But it didn't happen. That was just my taste, my opinion. Just better placement is all I'm asking. Where do we go next out here? We go next to Loomis sitting at the table with him?
Yeah, we go to the hospital, psychiatric hospital, I'm assuming. And then you hear a little bit of, I think still there's like a transition between him being in the cop car and getting to the hospital. And they're saying that Michael is the youngest prosecuted person ever for first-degree murder, and his trial accident ended up being the most expensive as well.
Yeah, in the state's history.
Yeah, and he was directly put into Dr. Loomis's personal care.
Yep.
So there's a session, and then it's Dr. Loomis and Michael just chilling, talking. They're drinking orange juice. And Michael is being a kid at this point. He's like, why do you talk weird? Because he has a little bit of an accent.
So this is him. I get maybe he's manipulating the situation. He's trying to get out of there. So he's going to play good, right? Mm-hmm. That's me. I don't think he's trying to like, oh, I don't think anything happened. I don't remember. But I think he does. I think he's trying to manipulate the situation. Like, see, it wasn't my fault kind of thing. It never happened. But Dr. Loomis, whether he sees it or not, I think he does, is like, well, you're not going anywhere.
He's like, do you remember anything from Halloween, Michael?
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean? The costume, the murders, the blood?
No, what? He says the costume, the candy. He's like, no. The horrific incident, the murders. And he's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't remember anything at all. And then you see his mom shows up. So she's doing visitations.
And so you don't know that the kiddo's gone. The baby's gone yet. That Lori was taken away. So she's all by herself. And she's got nobody left but Michael.
The baby?
Yeah. Baby got taken away that night.
Oh, it did?
The story... What? Oh my gosh.
I thought the baby got taken away when Deborah committed suicide.
No, I think it was that night.
Oh, because the cop says that he walked in.
He walked in on the murders. That horrific scene of what happened.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was after.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was the horrific scene of suicide.
Because I was like, I heard the baby cry when she did it.
Yeah, that was gnarly. That's right. That was dramatic. My bad, dog. My bad. But anyways, she's pretty much alone though. But she's again tries to see the pure side of Michael and trying to help him and visits. Mm-hmm. But you gradually see as time goes on, he gets more and more like, well, he pulls back and he gets more quiet, more restrained. He starts
transforming.
Yeah, he's starting to lose it a little bit. So each day, each session that you're seeing, because at first he's talking, he's super talkative, and then he just starts getting quieter, and quieter. And he also starts making masks. But Danny Trejo's character, he's like, hey, Mike, I've been there. You're in that cage. All you got is your own mind. They can't take that away from you. So you can kind of escape there. And that gives him the idea to make masks. And he ends up, the first mask he makes is he paints it pitch black and he puts it on at the next session. And the doctor asks, and that's what he says. He's like, why do you like the mask? Why'd you paint it black? He's like, because it makes me feel invisible.
Yeah, he's like, I have secrets. That's why it's black.
Yeah.
And then Loomis, I don't know. I feel like it wasn't necessary. He's like, well, black is not really a color. It's the lack of all colors. He's being technical.
Yeah, and that's stupid. Everybody's heard that stupid talk. Like, yeah, who cares? He's like, and he even says it. He's like, oh, it's not even relevant.
Yeah.
I'm just smarter than you. What's up?
Yeah. And one thing that Michael says about the mask, he has secrets. He's like, and then again, I think it's going back to the invisibility thing that you were talking about, because he says, no one sees me besides you and my mom, and that's it.
Yeah, and he's like, no one else visits me. Mm-hmm. And then Loomis is like, you're right.
Yeah. Sad. I was like, oh, but I mean, all his family's dead, so I was gonna.
Well, and he's coming kind of from a rotten family.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound like anybody's really around anymore.
No. His dad's dead, is what Judith said. The other dad was in heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another issue. But then what happens? What's the second scene?
So Deborah visits again, and he shows her his new mask. He's wearing another one. And he says that he likes it because it hides his face and his ugliness. And she's like, no, don't talk like that. And
yeah, you're my sweet boy.
Yeah, and they, essentially tell each other that they miss each other very much.
And he wants to get out of here. When's he able to leave? And she's like, I can't take you.
Yeah. And then they kind of fast forward, and it looks like I vibes that it was maybe like Christmas time. And you see him having an episode in a meltdown and he's just yelling at all the staff, just the whole fuck
Oh.
you, and he wants to go home.
And he's screaming. Yeah, he's having a breakdown.
Yeah, and Dr. Loomis is like, well, buddy, you can't go home. Like, you've done some terrible things.
Yeah, he's up front. He's like, you did terrible things.
Yeah,
you are never going to get out of here.
And then they fast forward again, and Deborah's visiting again, and they're outside having some yard time. And he's wearing that mask, and this is when he's like more and more silent, and she asks him to take off the mask. That he's not looking good. I guess he hasn't been eating either lately.
Yeah, and then she lifts the mask up, and then the only words he says is, "Put my mask back on."
Which I thought it was interesting, like, what kind of tools is he Are they just giving him markers to make these masks? Or what kind of tools are they giving him to make a mask?
Yeah, I think he's just using his hands. They're giving him paper and
then
glue and stuff.
They have this interesting scene where they go back inside a room and they're having food, and it's Dr. Loomis, Michael, and Deborah. They're having like classical music playing on the background. And again, Michael is just silent. Like, the doctor and Deborah are talking, but he's just silent, just looking at his food and just like he's not there.
Yeah, his head's down.
And so
shoulders are like sloped.
Yeah, and finally Deborah, she's like, well, I gotta go. And then Dr. Loomis wants to get a ward in there. And so he asks a nurse to come over and watch over Michael while he walks Deborah to her car. And as soon as
what are they talking about? Does it ever show what they're talking about?
Yeah, so he says that Michael has been silent. He hasn't been speaking for 2 weeks now. And they're considering maybe doing shock treatment to see if that'll help him. And then in the meantime, because Deborah brought over a picture of Michael and baby Lori, and she leaves it with him.
Yeah.
And so the nurse that's there, she's sitting across from him, like reading a magazine or something, and then she goes to pick up the picture.
Yeah, well, she's like, oh, that's a cool mask.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, cute baby.
Yeah, who is that?
And then Michael looks down at his food, and he grabs a fork, and then you just hear, like, the emergency.
Well,
like,
it
the
shows
alarm
it.
Go off,
it shows him stab her in the neck.
On the cameras, you see her.
It shows him just stabbing the neck and then just holding her on the camera. And then, the alarms are going off. At this point, his mom, Deborah, and Loomis are in there. They come running back. Like, what's going on? And they see that, and his mom, obviously, in hysterics.
Dude, that would be... Can you imagine seeing your kid like that? And she takes off his mask.
Yeah.
And she's just fucking having a moment just of panic of just seeing her little baby.
Yeah, and they're trying to hold him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Loomis is there. And he's like, what'd you do? Like, yelling at him, like, what the hell? And that was kind of the final scene. This is what pushed his mom over the top, because then later it shows her at home watching like home movies on the projector. And then all of a sudden she has a gun at the table, and then she sits up, has the gun. It doesn't show it, just shows the video of her and Michael in the sun just smiling. And then you just hear boom. So it implies that she committed suicide. And then, like you were saying, the baby ends up crying and screaming in the background. And then
pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's a pretty fucked up scene.
She should have dropped off the baby at the fire station before she did that.
I know, but these are white trash folks, man. Anyways, that was a traumatic scene. Like, all around, dude, this childhood from start to finish was fucked. Every start of the way, man. What went wrong with Deborah, man? Her life, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Turned for the worst. Was she always a stripper? Or was that a job she had to pick up because her husband died?
I don't know.
Dang, man.
We need a Deborah origin story.
I know, right? I'm like, holy shit. But
fast forward 15 years.
Yeah, 15 years later. So, now
Michael's like 25, 26 at this point.
Because he was
10 when they took him in.
Yeah, he was 10 when that happened. So yeah, he's like 26, 27 years old. And then, well, I mean, because you could do the math. She was an infant when he was 10, Lori. So then she's 17 now.
So 16 years.
Yeah, so he's 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's 26 years old. This dude had a huge growth spurt, man.
Yeah. I don't know what they were feeding him, although he wasn't eating at the
And
hospital, but something gave.
so again, typical Rob fashion. It shows Danny Trejo's character, and he's talking to another guy who seems like he's new to working there. And I don't know what they are, janitors or
I think
like
they're caretakers, something.
I don't know, because they do like a lot of caretaker stuff too, it looks like, because they're walking up and he's like, man, Trejo's like, I got 3 more months. I'm all done. And then the guy's like, I don't have to listen to you, blah, 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 just because you've been here longer. And he's like, okay, go chain up Mike.
Yeah, and then this guy, he walks in there,
and this is typical Rob fashion. The writing, dude, like the dude's calling him retard and like, hey, tard fuck, like
just stupid names.
Yeah, just stupid. Like, there's no need for that. I get it. You're paying it to be, but the guy doesn't even die in this movie. So you're paying this guy to be a real fucking asshole, and you don't even see him die. But while they're in there, the other guy, I don't even get his name, but he goes to try to touch the mask, and that's when Trejo's like, hey man, don't touch that mask. Don't touch his mask. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, just go chain him up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can tell he's still being nice to him. Trejo is, he's like, hey man, Mikey, I'm going to have to get you the cuffs on. Here, stand up. And he's kind of talked to him nice. And then they end up getting him to walk, and he just shuffles everywhere with his head down. You don't see his face either. You just see his long ass hair just covering his face.
Yeah.
Which is creepy because you can, compared to Trejo and the other guy.
I know. I thought Trejo was a big guy.
No, yeah, this guy's fucking massive.
I was like, holy tower when he got up.
And his hands are huge. So yeah, it just shows him. I don't know where they were taking him to showers.
They took him to Loomis.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this is where Loomis is like, we can't, this is going to be our last session, man. I can't help you anymore.
Yeah, and then Loomis says, he's like, you haven't said a word in 15 years. He's like, it's weird. Like, I keep talking to you, but nothing's coming back to me.
Yeah.
He's like, I've done everything that I can. Like, at this point, Loomis is throwing in the towel. He's like, I don't know that I can help you anymore.
He's
That's
older.
The last session.
Yeah, he's older. And he's like, weirdly, you're my best friend.
Yeah. And Michael, again, wearing a mask through this last session that they're having right here.
Yeah, and he's not making eye contact, just head down, reclusive, just fucking not enjoying it.
Yeah.
But his cell, by the way, was just covered in masks.
Everywhere.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah.
So that's just what he does every day.
It looks eerie.
Yeah.
And then they showed a very brief scene of Dr. Loomis, like, I don't know, was it at a college doing some lecture?
Oh, yeah, because he writes a book
that he wrote.
Yeah, Eyes of Evil or whatever.
Yeah, and he says that it's a lecture on Michael and how he was created with a mix of both interior and exterior factors, which resulted in Michael being Michael.
Nature versus nurture,
Mm-hmm.
which clearly, I think this was all nature that caused this. Like, his dad died. He had a shitty ass upbringing with his stepdad.
Nurture, then?
Yeah, nurture. Yeah, nurture. He had a shitty ass stepdad. Was a piece of shit. Just home life sucked. Bullies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't catch a break anywhere. I think it caused all this trauma. I don't think he was born like this.
And then, Michael Myers might be the one villain that I feel sorry for.
Well, I don't really feel bad, but you either do if you notice, you either do like it's a great combination to do great things,
yeah,
or you do really bad things.
Yeah.
Because like, you ever notice that? Like, you see a star athlete, he's like, yeah, my dad was a real piece of shit, but that's how I became the best in the world.
I was so poor, I had to steal money for food.
Yeah, or like a singer, like, artist. So yeah, this one just unfortunately went down the wrong pathway. But anyways, Loomis is really milking in on the book. I think he's over embellishing. But in this one, have you watched number 2?
No,
he really hams it up in that one. We'll have to cover that. I don't think we'll cover the next episode, but we'll have to cover that one. You'll see the difference. But you can see he's he's trying to cash in with all his work that he put in. Yeah. So the Eyes of Evil or whatever, or Behind the Eyes. he does the lecture, and then it shows later, right?
You go back to the hospital.
Yeah, and this time it's Halloween again,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, we're close to.
Close to, because they're gonna move him,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where you see Bill Moseley and different actors. They're all security guards or police officers or prison guards. I don't know what you call them, but they're
guards.
Yeah, they're gonna escort. Michael's being moved, and I think he's getting moved to like a penitentiary, like he's going to prison, and because Loomis is done with them, so there's no need to be at the psych ward. So they end up moving him. They chain him up. They're joking around. They're like, "Who we moving?" And they're like, "Oh, Michael Myers."
And there's a whole fucking crew just to do this.
Yeah, and they're like, "Ooh wee, damn, this is gonna be a good night." And so they end up chaining him up, and they're walking him down the hallway. He's shuffling, and they get to the first door.
Michael's wearing an orange mask. They keep like catering to him, and just although he's supposed to be very dangerous and everything, they're still letting him walk around wearing his masks.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, what are you gonna do?
You can't fucking wear that. I don't know.
I don't know. So they got them all shackled up, and there's 4 of them, right? 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think 4 or 5.
4, I think.
Yeah, they're walking them through, and they have a series of security doors. So the first door, the 3 guards are there. They're getting them through. And then that other guard is on the final door with a shotgun. So they get through the first one, and then the second one. So he's in between the 2 doors. At this time, he's so strong, he breaks the chains on his, that he's like cuffed.
Okay. Yeah.
And he breaks the cuffs, and then he ends up hitting the 2 guards behind him, beating the shit out of them. He kills, I think, Bill Moseley right away, right? The first guard?
I think so.
Yeah, and then he hits the guard behind him, and then the older guard, gosh, I forgot his name, but he beats his head against the window until blood just starts gushing out. And the guard on the other side is screaming, trying to open the door. And by the time she opens the door, he has the other guard, and she just shoots the shotgun and then blasts the guard, kills him. Michael throws him out of the way, and then runs up to her, chases her, and then he just grabs her throat and rips it out. And then so she bleeds to death, and he, again, she's a female, he stands over her and watches her bleed out. And then he does this again later in the same scene, really, because at this point Trejo's coming up for work, and all of a sudden he comes up to the hallway and there's a bloody mess. He's like, whoa, what the hell happened? He's investigating, and then as he's investigating, it shows, because he's calling for the receptionist or whatever on the floor, but she's on the wall.
She's already out,
and she's like dying, and you're watching her dying. Well, again, Michael's standing there watching her die. Yeah, so he tends to do that with the females.
It's like a fetish thing.
I don't know what's behind it, but anyways, then so Trejo's walking around investigating, and then he runs into Michael, right? Mm-hmm. And what happens?
He looks super freaked out, but he's trying to stay calm. And he's like, "Hey, Mikey."
He's like, "Who let you out?" Yeah, he's like, "Who let you out of the room?"
He's like, "How about we stay cool, hey, bud, and this is just not do anything that either of us are gonna regret."
Yeah.
I mean, he like nervously he goes and grabs his cuffs. He's like, "All right, Mikey, can you like put your arms out? We're gonna put this around you, okay?" And he walks up to him to put the cuffs on
Michael
him.
then raises his hands like he's gonna let him
cooperate,
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then psych.
Yeah, he grabs him by the neck.
Yeah.
And then, dude, it was uncalled for. Then he continues to like slam him against things, and then they end up going to the janitor's closet.
Yeah, and
there's a sink already full of water, which is weird. But he continues to shove him and drowning him in the water.
You see, like every time he goes under, there's just more and more blood piling up.
Yeah, and at this point, Trejo's like, man, Mikey, I was good to you, man. I was good to you.
And you were like, no, Trejo.
Yeah, I was devastated. I'm always devastated when he dies. I'm like, dude, why the fuck? In every movie I watch.
Killing him off right away.
I know. I'm like, dude, give him a little. I like him though. Give him a little more screen time. But he had the absolute worst death because not only was he drowning, and he doesn't drown completely. He starts lying there weak, and then all of a sudden Michael looks at the TV, grabs it, rips it off the wall, and then it's a big old school TV,
box.
tube TV, yeah. And he drops it on his head. Like, what the fuck, dude? That was like the worst kill.
The guy that was the nicest to him.
Yeah, that he was the worst to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even say Loomis was nice. I think Loomis was a little manipulative, but it doesn't really get in depth. Yeah. So this is the guy who truly, I think, tried to understand him, cared about him.
Just be nice to him. Yeah, treat him like a person.
Yeah, and that's what all he was trying to do. And then what's he get? He gets the worst of it. I wish it was the other guy. The
asshole guard?
Yeah, that got killed.
Or
why did it have to be Trejo? I think it showed, too, it was a point where it could show Michael showing that there was no return. Like, there was nothing in him. No empathy, no remorse. Like, he doesn't care who you are. He's just going to kill you no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're trying to show, which it worked. It was effective. It just kind of bummed me out. I'm like, dude, super dark. And then he ends up escaping at this point, right?
Yeah, so before that, Loomis gets a call, though, at his house.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, Michael got out.
From Attack on the Nerds, Booger. He played Booger in those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen this.
Oh. Well, they're pretty good movies.
Yeah, he calls him
Revenge of the Nerds.
Or maybe.
Yeah, Booger, dude.
Yeah, Michael escaped. There's been a massacre, and he needs to get to the hospital right away. And he's like, "Fuck my sleep." And then you see on the road there's a semi truck. You go to a truck stop, semi truck stop, and a driver pulls in. They call him Grizzly.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah, and he comes off a little bit cocky, yelling at all the other guys, and he's like, "Hey."
Do you know the guy's name? He's a classic horror guy. He's been in some horror movies. Fuck.
I didn't write it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Grizzly, you can tell he's an old school. And that's what I like about Rob. He plugs these guys in from that were in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
Into the movie. I'll have to look up his name later.
How old is Rob?
Well, he was born in 62, you said?
Oh, yeah. So 57-ish?
Yeah, he's not too old. But yeah, anyways, continue. Grizzly gets he's at a truck stop.
Yeah, he's yelling at the other guys. He's like, hey, wash my car. Be careful. Don't mess it up.
Yeah, don't put a scratch on it. It's a brand new paint job.
And then you see Michael. He's outside and he watches this guy go inside and he follows him inside.
He's sizing him up. And you're going to know why here in a second.
And then this guy, he's Grizzly. He's sitting on the toilet watching a old school porno magazine.
Oh, he's looking through it while he's going to the bathroom and relieving himself.
And you see Michael walk up, and you just see his dirty feet. He's wearing like sandals, and he's knocking on the bathroom stall on the door.
And the guy's nice. At first, he's like, "Hey, man, let me."
He's like, "I had a big taco deluxe, man. It's gonna be a minute.
I'm dropping a big taco deluxe here. Let me."
Yeah.
What?
It's gonna be a while.
Yeah, but something in peace.
Yeah.
Let me pass this in peace. But he knocks again, and this is where the guy gets serious. He's like, hey, motherfucker, like, what the fuck? And he grabs his knife, and he starts pulling his drawers up, and he's like, I don't think you know who you're fucking with. And he opens the door. He's like, my name's Grizzly, bitch. And he tries to go and stab Michael, because clearly he's got a mask on. But this guy's not intimidated. He doesn't care. He's going to try to fuck him up. But then Michael grabs his hand with the knife and just starts fucking hitting his hand to break the knife loose. And against the bathroom stall, ends up breaking the stall. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, and he takes the knife.
And the guy's like, come on, bitch, come at it. And he goes and tries to punch Mike, and then he gets stabbed.
Yeah. And then you see... goes to Michael, and he's wearing that, what do you call it?
Well, the guy's laying on the ground, and then, he took the guy's jumpsuit or overalls.
And he puts it on.
Yeah, and that was the reason why he sized him up and followed him into the bathroom.
And the classic Michael onesie.
The jumpsuit, yeah.
And then then we meet Lori. We don't know there is Lori there. And then she heads out.
Lori, do you know her last name?
Stalkers. Strode. It starts with an S.
Strode. Lori Strode. What is Strode?
And then her dad, she's running out. She's heading to school, and her dad gives her an envelope, a yellow envelope.
Yeah.
And tells her to take it. I didn't get what the purpose of the envelope was.
They're selling the house or some shit. But I didn't know the Strodes owned that house. I was confused.
Okay.
I didn't understand why and why they had to drop it off at the house.
Yeah, if it's vacant.
And it's clearly condemned, like the house. So the house we're referring to, Michael ends up going to.
Good.
It's their old house.
Mm-hmm. And then as she's running out, Tommy, this neighborhood kid that she babysits, catches up to her.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, what are you doing? Asking her questions about some wrestler and like TV shows.
And then the Mexican Wolfman.
Yeah. And then
he's like, I watched that. Is he out there? He's going to get us.
He's scared of everything, this fucking kid. Yeah. And then Lori, she's like, you know what? I'm your babysitter, but I don't know anything about that, whatever you're talking about. And yeah, Tommy follows her, and they make a stop.
She's like, whoa, don't go there. The boogeyman lives there.
The devil house. He keeps calling it too.
And she's like, oh my God. Ah.
Yeah. And she goes in there and walks up and, fucking
and
messing
Michael's
with
behind the door, dude. Just staring at her. Because Michael, too, he ends up going to the house and under the floor where it didn't show him hide it. Yeah. But apparently he meditated this because he knew he was going to go away. He hid the mask and knife in the floorboards.
He was ready for when he got out.
Which, a bit of a stretch, okay? But he got that, and then that's when he heard... As he was putting the mask on, that's when he heard Lori walking up, and then he was behind the door, and then it was a little scary because she dropped that letter in the mail or whatever in the door, and then she acts like she's being like taken.
And Tommy's like, freaking out. He's like, that's not a place. Don't screw around there. It's the devil's house.
Yeah, and she's just happy-go-lucky, like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and you see her, they go to school, or they're all at school, and there's like the three girls.
They're sitting there bullshitting, right?
Yeah, talking about having a party. And then Lori, this is where she looks out the window, and on the street, you see Michael standing there with the mask on.
Kind of a homage to the original one, paying homage to Carpenter with that, where he's just staying there staring at her. Yeah. He'll do it again once more, too, as they're walking home.
And she tries to ignore it, and she goes back to her conversation with her friends. And we go to Dr. Loomis, and you see him. He's talking to other doctors about steps to take. Michael escaped. Like, how are they going to...
Yeah, we got to warn the people.
Yeah, where the hell is he going?
And they're like, we know damn well. He's like, you know damn well where he's going. Mm-hmm. And nobody cares. Like, yeah,
they're
whatever.
Just brushing it off. They don't believe that he's
even though
really
he's
dangerous.
An escaped fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Dude, they would have been freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
And it would have been on the news. Like, be on the lookout.
Everybody going to lockdown.
Yeah, a 7-foot fucking maniac that slaughtered... like fucking 7 people at the psych ward.
The guards, yeah.
Yeah.
By himself.
Yeah, and escaped. An escaped psycho. A lunatic. Come on.
Yeah, and then you go back to the school and the girls are talking about their boyfriends and having premarital sexual relations and just BSing around.
Yeah, being teenagers at that time, I assume.
And they get off school and they start walking home, all 3 of them. So it's Annie, Lori, and then Linda.
And at this point, it's Halloween night. Or Halloween.
And they're walking by and they spot Michael again far away.
Yeah. But they're painting her to be innocent, too. They're like, you need a boyfriend.
Lori, yeah.
Yeah, and they said that during the breakfast that we kind of skipped through, but just saying. But they're painting her to be innocent while they're 2, like... they're a little more adventurous than she
Than
is.
she
She's
is.
more reserved.
Yeah.
And then again, it continues as they're walking home, and they're like, "Hey, pervert, what are you staring at? My dad's a cop or whatever." And then the other girl makes a joke. She's like, "Hey, man, maybe you should date him. You need a boyfriend."
Yeah, and I thought it was weird that they're yelling at him and calling him names because I know that it's Halloween, and I guess it's not a shocker to see people in a Halloween costume. Like,
and he's
dressed
being
up
a
in
weirdo,
costumes.
though, so they're just trying to draw attention to it, too.
I don't know. I don't feel like they're just antagonizing him and yelling at him. But yeah, right as Annie's yelling about her dad being a sheriff, like her dad does pull up and he's like, "Hey, I'm going home. Does anybody need a ride?" And she gets in, and then Linda, she was like, "Oh, it must suck like to have a that her dad is a pig
She's
or
like,
whatever,"
"No."
talking shit because
She's like, "Oh, I won't ride in a pig wagon. It makes me sick." He's like, "Haha, very funny," and then drives off, which Annie goes, "But wouldn't Lori," because she clearly is freaked out when they separate.
Yeah.
And she's like looking behind herself like, "Dude, why don't you just get a ride from the
the
cop?"
sheriff.
And why wouldn't you guys say something like, "Dude, there's a weirdo just staring at us." Like,
Yeah,
they didn't,
go talk to
just
him.
typical stupid teenage girl.
And then you go to Dr. Loomis is in town at this point.
Also, we skipped over the fact that Lori's parents now are like, they're painting them to be the sweetest, loving family. Like, they all care about each other. They're all joking, having fun. You can clearly tell they all care about one another.
They're a wholesome family.
Yeah, they're really pushing that.
And then, so you see Dr. Loomis, and he's being walked through the cemetery. And this guy, was his name Chester? I think that's what his name was.
Who?
The guy walking Dr. Loomis through the cemetery.
Oh, yeah. Sid Haig.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know. People are kind of shitting on the doctor because he wrote a book about Michael."
Well, the book is cheesy, and it clearly was just exploited. Like, he was exploiting the town.
Yeah, and then Loomis is trying to defend it. He's like, "The book was a masterpiece."
He's like, "A crazy nut job doctor wrote a book, and it was just crazy." And he's like, "Oh, that masterpiece? I've read it." I thought that was pretty funny.
He takes him to the Myers grave, and there's a dead animal tied to like tree branches and just replace the headstone. And the guy's pretty upset about it. He's like, "Yeah, these freaking kids, they took it. They've done this before." But Dr. Loomis is like, "No, that wasn't the kids.
This is
I know
different. Someone took the tombstone that weighed a ton."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Yeah, oh." And then he's like, "Yeah." And then what kind of sicko does this? And it was clearly Myers who, with the dog or the whatever
animal that was.
Yeah, he put it into a cross for his mom.
And then you go back to the Myers house. And Linda and her boyfriend Bob pull up.
Yeah, this is where they go to have...
They break in, which is a really weird spot to break in, because that house, again, looks so run down.
Yeah, but this is where they go to perform coitus, I think.
Is that the proper word?
Yep. A little bit of bump and grind. They got nowhere else to do it, even though he has that big van, and he mentions it. He's like, "We need to stop coming here. We need to find somewhere else. They're selling this place."
Yeah, so they break in, and then in the shadows, you see Michael creeping around, just watching them.
Well, he's on the porch upstairs as they're walking in.
They go in, they go to that room that you were talking about, where
Judith's old bedroom. Yeah.
They do their thing.
Yeah.
And
the scenes you don't like. You're like, "There's too many sex scenes in this movie."
Well, Viana was like, "I want to watch it. It's a Rob Zombie movie."
Oh my God.
And I was
inappropriate.
like, close your eyes the entire time.
Awkward. And they do. And it's super, like, obviously nudity galore.
Yeah, and they're done. And then she makes fun of him about being quick.
Yeah. And he's like, "Well, what would you rate me? 7.5? She's like, a 0. He's like, "Well, fuck. Plus 11. And she's like, "Go grab me a beer." And he's like, "You grab it." And then she's like, "Dude, come on." And then he makes the thing. He's like, well, I did all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And she's like, you fucking dick. And then he goes downstairs, grabs a beer out of the cooler, and then he ends up being a victim of Myers. Again, this is homage to the original movie where the guy ends up walking upstairs in a, what do you call that, a tablecloth, as a ghost, and he has his glasses on. Classic scene from the 78 movie. And then Michael quickly grabs him and then puts him up against the wall, lifts him up, and stabs him. And then he pretty much stabs him and hangs him on the wall. And then he stands there, and it's the classic scene everybody freaks out about, which it's subtle and okay. I don't know. I think it's
like
a little bit overhyped.
Gory or what?
No, it's just gory.
Classic?
Yeah, it's classic scene where it was so scary at the time. He stabs him, and then he's just like, he tilts his head slightly, and everybody just drools over that. Like, oh my God, it just shows that he's like he loves the art that he's doing or some shit.
I was just impressed that the knife could hold his entire weight.
It's unrealistic. And I don't know, the original scene, okay, it's cool. I don't know. I personally think that's overhyped, but that's just me. Anyways, he ends up doing that, the classic head tilt scene, and then he puts the like in the original movie, he puts the sheet over his head, and he starts walking in, and what's her name?
He takes like glasses too, and he puts them on.
And Linda, he has the glasses on, and then Linda's like, hey, she's like, oh shit.
She's like, where's my beer?
Yeah, and then he has the beer. She's like, well, give it to me. And he just raises it up, and then here's the beer. So she's like, are you fucking dick?
Which, how did she not notice that this guy is significantly taller than her boyfriend and bigger?
It's a huge difference. But she gets up, and she goes to grab the beer, and she does, but then Michael grabs her by the neck and starts choking her. And then to the point where I think he kills her that way, right?
Yeah.
Chokes her to death.
And he carries her outside of the bedroom completely naked.
Yeah, and then later she's downstairs, right?
Yeah.
At that point at the end of the movie when
Laura's
there.
You briefly see Dr. Loomis, he's buying a freaking gun.
Yeah, he's getting prepared. He's like, I'm going to have to put this fucking monster down.
And the guy's like, what are you hunting?
Which he buys a gun that will blow a hole through fucking anybody, but man, Michael Myers just takes it, doesn't do anything to him really.
Yeah.
But he gets going, and then where does it take us next?
And then we go to, I believe it's to Lori's house.
Yeah, she's going to babysit, right?
Yeah, so
but before that, her parents are there.
Yeah, her parents are there, and they're
like,
just having a moment outside.
And they're like, hey, be safe. She's like, I'm only going to babysit.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but it's Halloween. There's a lot of weirdos out there.
And they're also having a little moment reminiscing. Like, remember when you were little and you always like dressing up as a princess?
And she's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still childlike. And then Annie picks her up. And they end up taking off, and then the parents are kind of having another moment.
Sitting outside.
Yeah, talking about, man, we need to go on vacation, blah, 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 blah. Then the mom goes inside, Dee Wallace goes inside, and the guy continues to enjoy his cigarette, and he's smoking, and out of nowhere, Michael hits him in the neck. Like, I think he stabs him in the neck.
Something. It was quick.
Yeah, it was quick. And then he drags him inside, and then he pretty much drops him. He's dead. And then he continues to torture, again, the mom. And just beats the shit out of her. And
she's crawling around.
Yeah.
Trying to get to the phone.
Again, he has a real woman thing. Like, he doesn't like women. Because he tortures her. Doesn't show it completely, but then ends up killing her, right?
Yeah, and then there's at one point they show this a family picture, and there's Lori's in the picture.
Yeah, which does he recognize this as Lori? I don't know how he figured out this is his sister.
He has some fucking crazy like.
How do you know this is Boo?
Skills going on because later we learn out what happened to her. He's been institutionalized all this time. How did he know where she was? Like, the doctor didn't even know where the sister was.
There's no way. But this is kind of a flaw in all Halloween movies. Like, how the fuck did he even learn this? Like, how did he get to this point?
Yeah, and then he
It was
picks-
just Haven's chance, like, that he fucking even seen her, Lori, in the street or whatever, walking up to the house. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Hey, Rob Zombie, we need more on this origin story. How
Or
did he figure
anybody,
it out?
like, anybody. This is fucking nuts. How does he figure it out?
But anyway, yeah, he picks up the mom and he like throws her on the coffee table, and it doesn't show, but it's like there's like the motion that he's stabbing her while
Right.
she's there.
Right.
And then you go and you see Lori, she's babysitting Tommy, and again Tommy,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh my gosh, Lori,
But
is the boogeyman real?"
before you get too much into that, it just shows, like, I like how they set that up. Rob Zombie set that up, like, oh, loving parents, and trying to really convey how, like, dramatic that is. Like, man, nobody's safe. He just annihilated these people that typically in horror movies shouldn't die.
Yeah.
Fucking did. Like, nobody's safe. Everybody's dying. But continue. Tommy's talking about the boogeyman.
Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah, he's real, and he likes to eat little boys."
Yeah, trying to scare
And
him.
she's like, "Oh, yeah, he's scared." And he's the one thing that I thought was pretty funny. He's like, "That's not appropriate babysitting behavior."
Yeah.
Lori calls her out on her shit.
Yeah.
He's like, "The hell?" I mean, and her friend Annie calls her, and she's like, "Hey, the Wallaces are gone, and her and Lindsay, the little girl that she's babysitting, are gonna come over." And then Tommy's upset about this, being the stereotypical little, I don't know how old he is, 7, 6. I don't like little girls. And what are my friends going to think that she's over here at her house?
Yeah.
And so back at the Wallaces, somehow Michael got in the house and he's just standing there behind little Lindsay, just watching her. And then Annie comes out and she's like, "Hey, like, get ready. We're going to go to your boyfriend's house, to Tommy's house."
Yeah.
And then you see some interaction between Dr. Loomis and the sheriff. And Loomis is trying to really convey, like, "Hey, like, this is fucking urgent. We need to find Michael, and
Myers
he's
is
here."
back, and the guy's like, "Dude, I don't believe it. What evidence do you have?" And he's like, "The writing's on the wall, bro. You know why he's back here. You know when he escaped where he was going."
He's like, "The tombstone is missing." And he's like, "Oh, again, brushes it off as a prank because it's Halloween."
And then he's like, you're trying to tell me to do something that I promised, I vowed I wouldn't do 15 years ago. And then he ends up calling, and he calls the Strode house, and they don't answer. And he's like, "Oh shit."
And then there's a little bit back and forth in these scenes. And then you see Annie walking over to the Doyles' house, which I didn't really, they're like down the street from each other.
Yeah. Getting the original.
So they're walking over, and Annie's carrying like a pumpkin. And then the little girl, and see she's carrying like a bowl of, I don't know, candy or something. And they're just teasing, bickering, singing songs. They show up to the Doyles' house, and Tommy opens the door, and Annie's being kind of an ass. She's like, "Hey, where's your girlfriend Lori?" And he's like, "That's not my girlfriend."
Yeah.
But the kids are watching TV. Annie and Lori are talking. Apparently, Annie's trying to set up Lori with a boyfriend because for some reason, Lori really needs a boyfriend.
Yeah. She's 17 and has never had one.
That's okay. There's no age for when you need to go get a boyfriend.
But in this scenario, that's what they're talking about.
And then, so the plan was Annie is dropping off Lindsay with Lori, and she, her boyfriend Paul arrives, and he picks her up, and they leave. And then again, you go back.
Well, they go back to the Wallace house.
Yeah, they go back to the Wallace house because the house is alone, and they're trying to get some alone time. But you go back to the sheriff's house, or to the sheriff and Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
And then this is where I got like the real vibe. And sheriff was like, "I know you wrote a book, and I don't like you." He's like, "I think that you made it up because monsters are what sells." And Loomis is like, "No, like Michael is like truly evil. He has no conscience. He doesn't know like right or wrong. Again, he will kill and not stop at anything.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong."
Yeah, and he's back for his sister.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, what do you think? Like, what do you think he wants a sister for?" And he's like, "Honestly, I don't know."
Yeah, which nobody does.
Yeah. And yeah, so he's like, "Fine." He's like, "I'm going to break a promise." And then, yeah, he calls the Strode's house, and the voicemail picks up. And while the voicemail is playing the recording, they pan out that both parents are dead.
Again, painting them to be a wholesome family because they have a little Halloween.
Cute little Halloween greeting.
Yeah.
And he's like, shit. So, yeah, so they drive over.
Yeah, he's like, fuck, okay, now I'm curious. And he's like, come with me.
And we go back to the Doyle's house, to Tommy's house.
Yeah.
And Tommy, again, he's asking about the boogeyman. And so at this point, so is Lindsay. And Lori's just trying to brush it off. And she's like, you guys, like, just give me 5 minutes. Like, shut up. And they're like, why do you want to talk about the boogeyman? And they both are playing with her and tickling her.
Yeah.
And then you go back to seeing to the Wallace's house. And Annie and Paul are getting it on. And then you see Michael come around from the background.
Yeah.
And approaches them.
And then he stabs,
He
right?
grabs Paul from the back of the head.
Yeah, super strong. Picks him up by the back of his head. Stabs him, right?
Tosses him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then Annie's running around topless, and Michael's chasing her around the house. Catches up to her, and again, just grabs her by her legs like some of the other girls and just drags her around the house. And she's trying to fight back, but how are you going to fight this dude off?
Yeah, and she ends up getting stabbed.
Yeah, she ends up getting stabbed, and then you see a little bit again of Loomis and Sheriff is telling Loomis the story of Lori and where she's at, Michael's baby sister.
Yeah.
So he tells her, the story of when Deborah, she killed herself. He walked into the scene like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And he found a baby girl.
And he couldn't bear having her grow up with the stigma.
Again, the drama of like their entire family history. So he decided to drive over to the next town.
3 towns over.
And
thinking this is it. He won't hear of her ever again.
she'll start fresh.
And then a month later.
3 months later.
Yeah, 3 months later, the Strodes.
His friend, yeah, the sheriff. They were friends with the sheriff.
Yeah, adopted a child.
And
lo and behold, it's Lori.
She came back to the fucking town.
Yeah, he's like, son of a bitch. But he's like, that was it. And then while they're doing that,
we go back to the Wallace's house.
Well, Lori is walking their daughter home.
Yeah, Lindsay.
And yeah, to the Wallace house. And they end up going in, and then we see
Annie.
No, the dude hanging there with a pumpkin on his head.
Oh, yeah, from the stealing.
Her boyfriend, yeah, and he's just dangling there dead. And they're screaming for her. And she's laying in the kitchen, I think, at this point, right?
No, she was right when you walk in
right
next
below.
to... Yeah, she was right below the guy. And she's still alive. And Lori's freaking out and tells the little girl to run and call the police.
Yeah.
And so the little girl runs back out. And the door closes behind her. And Michael's standing behind the door.
Yeah.
And then you see Lori. She also gets on the phone calling 911. And while she's trying to get a hold of someone to come over, Annie's seeing Michael slowly walk around the house. And she's trying to get Lori's attention, and she keeps yelling for her. And then at the same time that this 911 phone call is happening, the sheriff, he's listening to all of this happen on the radio.
Like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, that's Laurie Strode, and we're 10 minutes away.
Well, no, he's like the Wallace house. Because I think he knows his daughter
was babysitting
there. And he's like, whoa, we're 15 minutes out. We'll be there. So they end up turning around, getting there. And then right here is where Lori runs back. And this is like the original movie. She runs back to the house. She's running house to house trying to have someone open the door. Nobody's opening the doors because who would in that situation? But then she ends up making it back to where the kids are, the original house, Tommy's house, and they end up opening the door for her, shut it, lock it, and then Michael's standing outside the door looking down, yeah. And the kids are fucking screaming. They're like, ah, shit. So everybody's like, let's run upstairs, let's go. So they end up locking themselves in the bathroom in the tub. Mm-hmm. Or was it the closet?
It was the tub.
It was the tub. So the original movie, it's a closet. So This one's the tub, and Michael comes breaking in the front door.
Well, the police show up too.
Well, yeah, after Michael breaks in and he's in the house, but the police show up. So they come rolling in, and one stays downstairs, one goes upstairs. Well, the one upstairs knocks on the door. He's like, hey, it's the police. Let us open. The kid's like, fuck no. And then she goes to open, but then that's when Michael attacks him and kills him, right?
Yeah, so there was like another cop on a window or something that I saw because a cop comes in through the door.
Yeah, there's a cop upstairs, a cop downstairs. That cop upstairs is at the door, and he wants in because he's like, hey, I'm a cop. You're safe now. The cop is still downstairs.
Okay. So he comes in, yeah, then Michael goes for him and stabs him. And Lori gets up from the tub and she grabs the kids.
Yeah.
No, sorry. She doesn't take the kids. He just goes for her and leaves the kids behind.
Yeah.
He pulls her out of the tub, and then it's the classic scene that you see in the trailer where he's carrying her.
Yeah.
Just dangling.
Well, he ends up killing the second cop because the guy's like, freeze, and he doesn't shoot him, and he ends up killing that cop, and then walks out with Lori.
Mm-hmm. And then you hear sirens. Everybody's coming to the rescue. And then right at this point, the sheriff and Dr. Loomis also arrive.
And they're at the wrong house. They're at the Wallace house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the cop runs in. His daughter's there. EMS is in there taking care of her. And there's a cop car down the road at the other house where Lori was. And the kids come running. And then Loomis is like, whoa, what's going on? What's going on? He's like, the boogeyman took our babysitter, took Lori. He's like, whoa, where'd they head? And then he's like, stand by here. I'm going to go look. And then he ends up going to check it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
He takes a cop car.
Yes.
Because he has a sneaky suspicion he's going back to the old house.
And he does, yeah. So we go back to the to the Myers' old house.
And she's on the ground. She wakes up, right?
Mm-hmm. And she sees her friend Linda. She's dead in that same room.
And she's like, Linda, wake up, wake up, wake up. Obviously, she's dead.
Yeah.
And Michael's standing there.
Just watching her. And behind her, I'm assuming it's their mom's tombstone. Says Myers on it. And she, at this point, she has no idea what the hell, like why he's coming after her. And she's asking him who he is, what he wants.
And he comes walking towards her slowly with a knife. And then he drops the knife. And then he goes and reaches for the picture that he got from his mom years ago.
Yeah. And
of her as a baby.
He shows it to her. And this girl is just so confused.
But she doesn't understand. Yeah. She doesn't know that's her and him. So she's like, what is this?
And he kind of does a little nod. Did you notice? Like, look at it, like the picture.
Yeah, like, look. And then he gets on his knees and he's just like not doing anything. And she sees the knife drop. So she's like, oh, here, come closer.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't know them. Like, and then, yeah, she starts playing him and says that she wants to help.
Yeah.
And he gets closer, and she reaches for the knife and stabs him.
Yeah, in the shoulder. And then he then falls on the ground and does the classic Myers. Oh, he's just laying there to he'll re-energize. He'll power up here in a second.
He's like, Energizer Bunny.
He lays there conveniently. She's freaking out. And that basement deal has a door, but it's locked. But she rips the wood off, kicks the wood through, and she climbs through the window. And this time he wakes up, and then she ends up falling into the pool.
So there's like a wire fence.
Oh, she can't get out. Through. Yeah.
And meanwhile, Michael's awake and breaking through the wall.
Again, she's screaming like she goes Jennifer Love Hewitt in this and just screaming her lungs off at what seems like 1,000 times.
Yes.
It's super annoying. Even you said Maria was like, God damn. But then how'd she get in the pool?
She starts running after she makes it through, barely makes it through and barely escapes Michael this time. And yeah, she just runs into this empty pool. And she falls down.
Yeah, and then Michael bursts through the cellar doors and he starts walking towards her with a knife, right?
And so my mom came and sat with me and watched the last 5 minutes of the movie. And she's like, why is she not getting up? Why is she not running? Why is she just screaming? And then I don't know if she got hurt in the fall, but she's just laying there and just yelling for help. Yes.
Because this isn't the only time she flies out. Like, she falls.
No, yeah. And he's just kind of, at this point, Michael is still on top of the pool. And he's just walking around the ledge, just watching her.
Yeah, and then he walks down there, though.
Yeah, and he finally starts walking down. And then Dr. Loomis arrives at this time, too.
Yeah, he's like, Michael, stop. And he then pulls out, I think it's a 35?
I don't know.
Or 45. Anyways, he's blowing holes through this guy. It's not even phasing him. And then finally he gets shot dead center in the back, and then he falls down, which I think would cripple anybody.
Yeah.
But he falls face down into the leaves in that dirty-ass pool. And
Laurie's still there, not moving.
yeah, and then Loomis, he's like, hey, come here, you're safe now. So they have a little embrace. They start walking. He puts his jacket on her. They walk to the cop car.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, you're safe now. Things are good. And honestly, right here, face down in the pool, I think this is where the movie should have stopped.
But
it was good. It was a good point. Like, hey, what don't you agree? Like, right here, damage was done. We seen shit fucked up. I think it was a good ending point, especially if you're going to make a sequel.
Yeah.
Because then you see him face down, ending point, and then you have a cop or someone come over and be like, oh, yeah, he's back there in the pool. You have that cop with no name go back there and then come back like, whoa, there was nobody there. I don't know what you're talking about. And then it does cue the music. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Yeah, I think that would have been perfect ending. And chef's kiss.
You guys, Richard's going to make his own Halloween remake.
Fucking A, I should, because what's his name screwed up the trilogy. Not Flanagan. What was the guy's name?
I don't know.
God, I can't remember it. What a terrible trilogy. Evil ends tonight.
Bong, bong, bong.
Love lives today. So stupid. Anyways, that's for a different episode. This one, I just think would have been a perfect ending. You don't agree?
I think so.
I think that would have been good. But that's not what happens. What happens here? You do get a pretty good jump scare.
Dr. Loomis is standing there like, oh shit, I shot my best friend. And he gets in the car. And Laurie's like, was that the boogeyman? And he's like, you know what? I think that was it. And then bam, fucking Michael breaks through the window.
And pulls her out.
Yanks her out of the car.
That gets me every time. I do jump every time.
I didn't jump.
I did.
I knew it was going to happen. And then, yeah, Loomis is freaking out. He's like, Michael, like, it's not her fault. It's my fault. I failed you and I didn't do a very good job in helping you. So he's like, all right. So Michael tosses Laurie to the side and he goes for the doctor.
Yeah, she runs back inside and then he grabs the doctor, stares at him, and just starts crushing his head, like his eyes.
Pushing
he's pushing
into
it.
his
Yeah.
eye, yeah.
And implying that he's like cracking the skull, which you think Loomis is dead.
I thought he was.
And he drags him inside like he's hiding the body.
Mm-hmm.
And he drags Loomis inside. But then Laurie goes upstairs and then she ends up hiding behind the sheetrock in the walls.
Yeah, and this is where I thought that it dragged a little. Like, there were some scenes where it was just a lot of standing.
This is where the movie went too long. And you know this isn't even the director's cut. There's a cut
shit.
where it's an extra like 15 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's hiding and Michael's just walking around the house in circles and he can't find her. And, you know, she's holding on to her cries, muffled.
Well, the thing is she's crying in there and then all of a sudden she hears him walking up and then she gets silent. But man, he goes in there and he has an idea, but then he starts walking away and then he hears a slight like noise, like a chuckle thing, like, huh? And then he's like, huh? And then he knows, and he's like, it's behind the wall. He starts crushing the wall, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just starts breaking through.
He gets out, and she's on the other side of the wall. And he's looking in there. He's like, motherfucker, he's pissed. where does she go? She ends up going upstairs.
So she goes, not quite. So she notices next to Loomis's body, there's like that gun.
Oh, yeah.
And she crawls over to it. And right as she picks it up, they see each other briefly. He looks at her and she takes off. And yeah, so she goes upstairs. And he's looking around downstairs, looking through the holes, because this house is fucking fucked up by this time.
But somehow she got up into the attic.
Yeah, so she's crawling around,
and dude, that's the worst part of this whole movie. That'd be the worst feeling, is fucking crawling on insulation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, that fiberglass just digging into your skin.
Cut you.
Have you ever had that? It is the worst, and it's impossible to get out of. It's like little splinters all over your body. It's impossible to get out of your skin. It takes weeks. So that right there made me cringe. I was like, ooh, you might as well die right there.
Yeah, and he finds like a leg of a table or some piece of wood. And he's walking around and he's
like a 2x4.
Yeah, he's just poking the wall as he's making his way through. The ceiling,
yeah, he's crushing it. And she keeps walking forward, or not walking, but crawling forward to not be caught. And he just keeps crushing it. And then finally, and I knew this was going to happen because the ceiling was weak, she ends up falling through and hitting the ground pretty hard.
Yeah, she looks pretty rough.
Gets the wind knocked out of her. Eye. Oh, yeah, she's like totally might be concussed. She has a bloody eye, barely open. She's all fucked up. And then old Mikey comes into there and then grabs her, right?
She points the gun at him.
Yeah.
And he drops the piece of wood that he had.
Runs after her.
And tackles her.
Through the window.
And out the balcony. Down onto the...
She lands on him, though, right?
Yeah, somehow. Yeah, it flipped. She lands on him. She finds the gun. And she's at this point, like, straddling, sitting on top of him.
Yeah, she's like, all fucked up. And then she has the gun, though. And she ends up pointing that at him. And you just hear click.
Click. Jam over.
It's not jam. They're just empty. Click. 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 Finally, there is a bullet there. But she doesn't even get that fired off, right?
No, and she's still pointing and
screaming.
He wakes up.
Yeah,
he grabs her hand, and she clicks again. And then this time, the gun does go off.
Oh, that's right.
And she's just bloody screaming.
Yeah, and dude, the dude's dead. Come on.
And she's just like. And my mom was like, why is she fucking crying? She's like, why is she still screaming? She shot him already. She's on top of him. She won.
I mean, it's an intense, feeling. Put yourself in that. I'd be a little freaked.
You would be screaming that much?
Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
A little scream.
That's a little over the top.
Oh.
But then, is that the end of the movie?
That is the end.
And then credits roll.
And then you see little, I thought it was pretty cool. Like, as the movie's rolling, there's, more of, the homemade videotapes. And it's, young Michael, siblings, Deborah.
Showing them, building empathy for old Mikey. Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah. So it just shows a family torn apart.
So this was the first movie where Michael talks.
Yeah.
Like you said, shot in the same town as the original. And then the other homage to the original movie was where the girls see Michael when they get out of school.
Yeah.
And he's standing behind a house that was Laurie's house in the original film. Mm-hmm. And it was filmed on the same street that the houses were when Jamie Lee Curtis, Nancy Keys, and PJ Souls walked down in the original movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
He went old school to the original. Everything. He was really trying to...
Yeah.
To get in there.
Yeah, and kind of show respect for the previous one, but also put his own mark on it. Yeah, I liked it. Do we want to give our ratings now? Do we usually do that and then go to the review corner?
Mm-hmm.
So after talking exclusively and extensively about Halloween 2007, directed and written by Rob B. Zombie, how did your thoughts and opinions change?
Yeah, I learned a lot from you about this movie.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
So,
thank you.
How do you feel about it?
It was pretty good. Respect to Rob Zombie.
It was pretty right. This is one of the better zombie films.
I'll let you know when I watch the rest of the zombie films. Yeah, I've only watched House of a Thousand Corpses.
Dr. Satan.
And I was like, well, what are we watching?
Yeah. So, what character would you think you would be in this situation?
Lori.
You'd be Lori,
Sweet
innocent.
and innocent.
Dang.
No?
I think I would be more of the Loomis type or the sheriff. Or maybe one of the boyfriends. I don't know. Definitely probably one of the boyfriends.
What the fuck?
I'm just saying.
I think you would be Ismail.
Oh, a janitor? Fuck you, dude.
Just a nice guy trying to understand. I don't know.
Oh, I could see myself as the janitor too. I'm like, Mikey, I was good to you, Mikey.
Good to you, Mikey. Let's be friends. No, not the janitor. I think you would be a Loomis. I wrote that book. Look at my book.
Oh my god.
It's magical.
Just because I write good plots
yes.
and commercials. Wow.
You've been practicing.
Oh my god.
It's splendid.
I'm just an egomaniac, a narcissist.
We're stroking your ego.
Stroke it, baby.
Ooh, here. Pet it.
Stroke that ego.
Nice ego.
They call me the ego Guido. Can't help it. What's up? Gym Tan Laundry. What's up, GTL? Yeah, cool. What was your favorite kill?
My favorite kill has to change now because he's not dead. Dr. Loomis.
Oh, that was your favorite?
No, I would say it's Ronnie's.
Ooh, you liked Ronnie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Ronnie.
He
That
was
was
too drunk to notice he was being fucking duct taped to that chair.
Yeah, Ronnie's was a good one. I liked that quite a bit. And then
What was your favorite kill?
I liked Ronnie's, and then I liked Annie's boyfriend getting killed and then hung up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. What would you rate this movie?
What would I rate it? I would rate it, I'd say...
Without ever seeing the original. Huh.
Divided. I liked the first half of the movie. I liked his origin story.
Of the movie, the origin story. Okay.
I liked the second half too, but the last 10 minutes were like...
A little bit
5
too
minutes,
long.
yeah.
It could have been cut short. Yeah, the last 10 to 15 minutes was too long.
I would say, let's do it at 2.53.
2.53?
Yeah, 2.75.
2.75?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yeah, so for me, it's not a bad movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie. I would give this one, honestly, probably a 3.
A 3?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
It's right there. It's an average horror movie. Like, is it the best? No. But is it the worst? Certainly not. And I think this movie gets a bad rap, honestly. I think with time, it's gotten more appreciation.
Okay.
Do you want to take a quick break and then we'll get to Viana's Review Corner?
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back. All right. We're back. Without further ado, here's Viana's Review Corner. Viana.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. You know the answer, or the question I want an answer to. Have you watched this movie?
Yes, except for kind of the end because the cat peed on the couch, so I had to clean it up.
Fucking Wellesley.
And she pissed
Man.
over my mom's jacket, so I had to wash that. And then I washed the couch.
Language? Jeez Louise.
Says you, Richard.
Hey, don't tell me to watch my Evan mouth. I'm kidding. Anyways, did you enjoy the movie?
I thought it was pretty good.
You liked it?
Yeah.
What would you rate it? Your personal rating. Don't hold back.
Probably like a 3 out of 5.
Ooh, shit. Me and you see eye to eye. Your mom gave it a 2.7682. Like, her accounting brain went crazy. I'm like, how the hell did
specific.
you... Yeah, what's the algorithm you plugged into that? Oh my God. She's breaking it down right now, guys.
This is like
We got ADD brain. We
This
can't
is like-
follow you.
the first numbers of pi.
3.14.
You.
Yeah.
So, okay, 3 out of 5. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's a higher rating than you give most, man. Wow.
Not really. I
You
feel
must
like
have had
I
a good day
rate everything.
today. Okay, so what were the overall vibes of the reviews that you looked up before you start getting into them? What were you seeing out there in the landscape? Where did you find your reviews at?
I found them on Letterboxd. People were very neutral about the movie, or they gave it was like 3.5 and down. There were that many like high numbers on it.
So it was like poorly received?
Yeah, kind of.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Haters gonna hate, you know? What's up? Cool. So what do you got? Hopefully you got some funny ones.
Yeah. So someone gave it a heart and said, "This is good overall, but the first 2 acts are really the good stuff, especially when Robert Zombie is doing his own thing and not echoing the original film. I think I've heard people say the sequel is better, right?"
No.
Oh. Having the conclusion be that extremely long chase scenes between the two of them is so boring. Can't complain too much, though. I do love Mr. Robert Zombie's films.
Dang, Robert B. Zombie's got some groupies.
Someone said, "I have absolutely no idea whether I hated this or really liked it," and gave it 2.5 stars.
Okay.
And then someone said, "What if Michael Myers was an evil little boy that party rocked a little too hard?" and gave it a heart.
Oh my God. Party rock era.
Someone said, "When I saw this back in 2007, I nearly shit my pants while watching.
Me
7
too.
years later, I nearly fell asleep while rewatching." 2
Me
stars.
too.
Most of this is dumb, but Michael Myers' wrecking shit is scary. 4 stars and a heart.
Dude, for show.
And then someone gave it 1.5 and said, "So that's why Michael Myers stopped talking, because everybody kept calling him a whiny little bitch as a kid." Gee, thanks for remaking this, Rob Zombie. I totally needed to know that.
That's hilarious.
Someone gave it 1 star and said, "You know how sometimes hours after you had a very pleasant and delicious meal, you burp and you can taste the faint aromas of that meal mixed in with the unpleasantness of stomach gases? Yeah, you know where I'm getting at."
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, and then someone said, "Finally, a Halloween movie for people who drink beer and have sex. 4 stars and a heart."
Dang. Typical slasher.
Someone said, "John Carpenter's Halloween if no one washed or cut their hair in 2 years." 2.5. Someone said, "Does the exact opposite of everything that made the original movie so great. 0.5 star."
So that is true. It took away some of the mystery of why he was doing things, made it a little more creepier.
But I feel like he put his own twist to it, you know?
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah. Someone said, "Justice for Elvis the Rat." 4.5 stars and a heart.
Dang.
Someone else said, "Better than I remembered. Not better, but more legit." Wait, I can't read today. I'm sorry. Excuse me, I can't ever read. "Better than I remember, not better than, but more a legit American Gio than 78. Michael Myers hates walls. 4 stars and a heart."
What was the word? Can't see it.
Gio? It's like
Gio?
Gio. I forgot how to pronounce it. It's an Italian word.
Oh, Giallo.
No, you don't pronounce the L's, I don't think.
Yeah, it's Giallo.
Oh, wait, yeah. My bad.
Gio. Pico de Gallo.
I was thinking about the L's equals
Hilarious.
a Y.
That's adorable.
Someone said, "Between this and the Heat, Trejo is now confirmed as one of the best on-screen death actors. 3.5 stars and a
Dude,
heart."
seriously, everything. He's brutally killed. God
And
damn.
what with Predators too? Didn't
Yeah,
you get brutally
Justice for Trejo, okay?
killed?
Hashtag justice for Trejo.
Never forget. A
Whoa.
white trashterpiece. 3 stars.
Dang.
Someone said, "The opening kitchen table scene is the most Rob Zombie thing ever. 3 stars and a heart."
Yeah, that is true.
And then someone said, "I really like the beginning because it plays out like an extended version of Slipknot's seminal early thousands smash hit Left Behind. 3 stars.
Okay.
Someone said, "First half is pretty neat, but the remake portion of the film is boring as shit."
Yes, I agree.
And then someone else said, "Hillbilly Elegy, 3.5 stars and a heart."
Hell yeah, dude. Michael Myers' house was a white trash mansion, though.
So, what movie are you guys covering next?
I don't know. We're going to have to... I got an idea. So, We've gotten a ton of listener recommendations on our Instagram, which thank you. Ton of great ideas. But I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to come out with a bonus episode, and I'm going to have your mom choose like a handful of movies. I'm going to choose a handful of movies. Then we're going to take those recommendations, plus maybe throw in a couple of your opinions, suggestions, and then we'll kind of mix it together. And then me and her will come down with a list. So that way we can have map it out what we want to do. Instead of a week by week, we'll actually have it done for weeks. And then we can kind of post that on our social media so everybody can see.
All right.
Think that's a good idea?
Yeah. How is the giveaway going?
Dude, amazing, man. The support on that, everybody's going hog wild on that thing. So we're excited. That's coming out the 16th. So keep voting, keep putting your stuff out there, keep applying on it. More, the better. We want to reach like 5,000 comments. That'd be fucking awesome. 5,000. Yeah, Angels is like shaking her head because she's got to record all of it, but I'm just there to put it together.
It's okay. I'm free child labor.
Oh, shit.
Just kidding.
Thanks, Viana. Well, all right, cool. Thanks for your reviews as always. It's incredible. Thank you.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
5 stars, Camila.
All right. Angelino. Loca. What's going on?
No mucho, Ricardo.
Did you have a good break?
It was amazing.
Okay. We typically, if you're new to the thing and you made it this far, we typically go off of and we do the reception and the ratings for IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, and Letterboxd. Do you have those?
I do.
Ooh-wee, what do we got?
IMDb gave it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes, 28%.
Ooh.
Letterboxd, 2.7 out of 5.
Well, so it says 28% ratings on the tomato meter, indicating generally unfavorable reviews from critics, but has a 59% audience score, showing that some viewers appreciated Zombie's take on this classic. So you didn't mention that.
And then Google users gave it a 79%.
What'd Metacritic give it?
I don't have a thing for Metacritic.
I do. It's 47 out of 100.
Oh.
And then Letterboxd gave it a 2.9 out of 5.
I found 2.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Dang. So yeah, I mean, depending on where you look, it looks like it's not very favorable.
It's kind of middle of the road, and then Google users, which is, you and me, that just go and click yes, 79%. So they liked it.
I think more and more people, as time goes, it's going to turn for the better. But right now, definitely, I guess, with all the analytics, I think I'm in the not the majority. I like this movie, but I always have.
Okay.
And you're kind of with the majority, huh?
This
is a pile of poop?
No, I don't think it's a pile of poop.
It's a dumpster fire?
It's not a dumpster fire. It was the first half did it for me.
Okay.
I wanted more. Like, let's see what else this fucked up kid has.
I like it. Cool. Do we have anything else we want to cover? How do you feel about what I just explained? How we're going to choose movies and stuff?
It'll be interesting.
Little bonus episode. I'm excited. Hopefully we have people listen to the bonus episode, huh?
Huh? Oh, yes.
That'd be pretty cool.
So send us suggestions.
Yeah,
we'll throw them in the mix.
We're dying to know, like, any ideas. There's not a bad idea, bad suggestion. Give us it all, and we'll definitely put it in the list, and we can kind of go. That's the beauty about horror. There's millions and millions of titles, so we'll leave no stone unturned. But all right,
hasta luego.
See. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for listening to Horror Cinema Obsession. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If so, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And join us next time for another episode of Horror Cinema Obsession.